50 Shades of Grey, more like 50 Shades of Abuse. Why do you want to lick his chest hairs? How am I supposed to take anything seriously when this entire time he's just in f***ing ripped jeans? Hi, welcome to my channel, Ray the Ghost Reads, and today I'm reading the second half of this godforsaken book by E.L. James. And I'm sorry that this had to be two parts. If this is the first time you're seeing me, hi, this is only my second video, so that's probably why. And if you enjoy the video, then I would really appreciate like and subscribe, but obviously not really expecting much here. I don't know, anything's helpful. I'm just doing this for fun, so hopefully it's fun for you. I'm gonna have fun today, so I'm gonna cover chapters 15 through 26. I would recommend watching the first part if you care about having any context for what's happening. I'm gonna try and refresh some memories because it's been like a month, over a month by the time this gets out, since the first videos come out, so even people that did watch that video who might be returning for part 2 might have forgotten some things, so I'm just gonna try and make sure people understand what's happening. But oh boy, there's a lot. Welcome, get comfortable. We're gonna be here probably for a while. We're honestly just gonna get right back into it. So starting from chapter 15, again, if you're like, I don't know what's happening, you can go watch my first video. If you've already read the book before or watched the movie or whatever, you're probably fine. There's not a lot that happens in this book anyway, so you can probably catch up fast, depending on what you're hoping to do. If you have another extra 3 hours to waste or something, might want to go check out that first part again, but I'm just gonna get right back into it. So if you recall, chapter 14, for a little refresh, okay? Anna was graduating from college and with her English degree, and during graduation, Christian was like, by the way, you should tell me if you want to be my submissive soon, otherwise I'm gonna have to, I don't know, move on or something. So basically he was pressuring her to sign the contract so that they could start doing more BDSM things and having more playtime together. And she was like, okay, I'll sign, you know, and I talked all about how that's grooming and how that whole first 14 chapters was grooming. So if you didn't know, that's what happened. And so moving on from chapter 15 and forward, they are now kind of under this agreement that she's going to sign the contract. She has not yet signed the contract, but she's like, I will, I promise, I will. And now we can see what happens from there. After this whole graduation thing, right, Christian goes back to Anna's house and to her apartment or duplex or whatever. I think it's a duplex. She's like trying to give him back the test books, if you remember those, and like the Tom Hardy books that he gifted her that were like $14,000. Okay, she's like, I just don't want these anymore. So, you know, just we're just starting off with a bang. He's like, you see, this is what I was talking about, you defying me. I want you to have them, the books. And that's the end of the discussion. It's very simple. You don't have to think about this. As a submissive, you would just be grateful for them. You just accept what I buy you because it pleases me for you to do so. Imagine being so self-centered, okay? So selfish that you think being a submissive is just about making the dominant happy. Like, this relationship is so one-sided and just so, I hate everything. Her comfort in this matters too. And I understand that there's kind of this aspect of dom-sub relationships where, you know, a submissive might enjoy being told what to do because we live in a very overwhelming world. You have to make lots of decisions throughout your day, and a lot of people can kind of enjoy having someone, whether it's sexual or not, they can enjoy having someone sort of tell them what to do so they don't have to think about things. But this doesn't read as that. This reads as just like, you should be happy because I'm happy. That's not how this works, okay? That's not how any kind of healthy relationship works. Both people have to be happy in that relationship or something's gonna go wrong at some point. It's just so selfish of him to be like, you would be happy if you were my submissive. No. She keeps like fighting him on this though. She's like, no, 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 like I really don't want these books. Like, please take them back. It makes me really uncomfortable. And like basically this entire time she's like slut shaming herself because she's accepting a gift. Damn, okay, but whatever. She tries and explains that at some point. I don't even remember when, I'm sorry. This whole book is so jumbled together in my mind. But he's like, I'm gonna buy you lots of things, you should just get used to it. And she's like, it makes me feel cheap. Oh, there, she just, yeah. She's like, it makes me feel cheap. And he's like, it shouldn't. You're overthinking it, Anastasia. Don't place some vague moral judgment on yourself based on what others might think. Don't waste your energy. It's only because you have reservations about arrangement. That's perfectly natural. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. Oh my god, that's the fucking problem. I'm like, how far into this video? And I'm going insane. You can't just say that. You can't just say that. Period. You can't just say that. I hate this book. Oh my god. So he starts getting her tipsy on purpose, and he's like, let's talk about limits while you're drunk. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Oh my god. He ends up, he's always interrogating her about this, but he's like, did you make sure to eat today? And she's like, yes, I had a full course meal with my stepfather. And she like rolls her eyes at him, and he says, next time you roll your eyes at me, I'll take you across my knee. No. Let's just summarize what happens with the limits. So they agree that there's gonna be no fisting. Cool. Okay, sure. She doesn't want to do booty stuff, and he's like, I want. What does he say? He's like, I'd really like to claim your ass, Anastasia, but we'll wait for that. The way he says it, it's get away from me. She's like, have you done that? Like, anal? And he's like, yes. With a man? No, I've never had sex with a man. Mr. Straighty Pants over here just has to clarify at every fucking left and right turn that he is straight. Yep, anyways.
I am not gay!
No, I never had sex with a man before. Okay, whatever.
I am straight!
He literally starts laughing at some point because she's just so inexperienced. It's so funny, ha ha ha. You think it's funny that you literally groomed her? That you literally was like, I'm just gonna take this 21-year-old who's a virgin and just like make her my submissive? You think that's funny? And then like during this whole thing, like this is a pretty long conversation, but at some point like she's drinking through the entire thing, and he keeps giving her more alcohol, and she blinks up at him and she's like, but if I'm trussed up, like tied up, I don't know, that's a weird way of saying it. How's that going to work? My brain is beginning to fog. Alcohol. To purposely get someone drunk while you're talking about limits, especially sexual limits, is so unbelievable to me. And he literally says like, it's making you brave, and I need to know how you feel about pain. It doesn't make her brave. Like, yeah, she might say more things, okay, but it's because she's intoxicated, which also means she can't consent. Okay, I feel like we could end the conversation there. She's not gonna be able to make good decisions this way. Like, insane to me that you think this is a good solution. At one point she says, my inner goddess bounces up and down like a small child waiting for ice cream. Wow, so cute and charming. I totally don't want her dead. Okay, awesome. But as he was saying, they do end up talking about pain, and this is the part that Anna is most scared of. He's literally like, we have to do the punishment part or like the whole deal's off, which this is frustrating to me because what Anna is scared of is pain, not necessarily punishment, you know? So it's like, I feel like personally, okay, if you're a good dom and you want to make things work, you could come up with more creative forms of punishment so you're not hurting her, you're just like doing things that are like still punishments but just in a different format so that she's not feeling unsafe. But instead he's just like, you have to do this or we're not doing anything at all. That's pretty booty buns, okay? Don't I hate it. They agree to like kind of work up with intensity of pain though. She's like, I don't want to do some of these things, and he's like, I don't want to put any hard limits on these. You don't, but she does. So doesn't matter what you want, actually. After the whole conversation, she's just like visibly uncomfortable, and he ends up just like kissing her and being like, oh look, it's fine, I kissed you. Like, oh my god, it's like, is that not like love bombing, like manipulation maybe? Okay, cool. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine bringing someone like as a experienced dominant. I can't imagine bringing someone into this and being like, I'm gonna train you to be a submissive. Training, that's just grooming, I fear. It is. So after the whole conversation, he's all like turned on. He's like, well, I want to do some stuff. And I was like, wait, are we already gonna do things? Like, I wasn't prepared for that. And so he's like, well, I've been thinking, and because you said that you want more, and I don't really want to do that, but like, I do want to be in this kind of relationship with you. I figured we could try and do some more vanilla stuff, but you have to accept the gift I got you. And he takes her out outside, and he bought her a car, like a nice car. I hate this. I really do. I mean, first of all, he's like, you have to accept my gift, and it's like, it's probably supposed to be kind of a joke, kind of playful, but again, it's like he's not just doing something like a favor for her. He's like doing something that she has said so many times she doesn't want him doing, which is buying her expensive shit. You need to stop doing that, sir. You need to stop doing that, okay? How many times does she have to communicate that that's uncomfortable for you before you get the message? You know? Like, I hate it. I hate it so much. That he's like, this is the thing that you really, really, really want, okay? And this is this thing that I want. I'm gonna make you accept the thing I want so that you can get the thing that you really want, which is basically just more vanilla stuff, which I don't think is a huge ask. And if you're not willing to do that, just don't get involved in the relationship in the first place, you know? But it doesn't happen here. Nope. He takes her out to the car though, and when she sees the car, she's like upset. She's like, I didn't want a car. Like, I told you I don't want you spending this much money on me. And he's like, you have to accept it. She's like, fine, it's on loan, right? He's like, on loan indefinitely. But she's just like, not now, but like not indefinitely, but thank you, basically, because she's just being nice, whatever. She ends up saying, thank you for the car, sir. Like, he wants to be called sir during playtime. Like, ew. Because Anna's reaction to the gift is like pretty lukewarm, Christian gets kind of upset with her, and I mean, he's basically just like, I want to take your clothes off, and I'm so, I don't know, whatever. And Anna's like, please don't be angry with me. Does that not sound like just like abuse to me? Like, to act in a way where your partner, who is supposed to trust you, is like, please don't be angry with me, you know? What is this? I don't want to see this in a romantic relationship between two people. Like, that's gross. That's really gross. Don't do that again. So they have a little scene here, and there's no like beating in this one, so I'm just not really gonna get too much into it. I have a few things in my lines. These are all things that come up. So her nipples pucker. She says, yes, sir, which is something that I say, like, as a joke. So I can't take that seriously. Yes, sir. Like, what do you mean? He says, my sweet girl is ready. Okay. And she thinks at one point, holy Moses. It's really good stuff. It's really good stuff. So she undresses Christian though, and like starts easing her mouth, but before he he splooges, okay, you know, he's like, Anna, get on top. And so she does, and she is enjoying this. This is low-key the first time that she feels like she's in control, and she really likes it. Girl, why do you want to be a sub? Why do you want to be a sub? So for chapter 16, they're like in bed afterwards, and she's just like, what if I just like touch his chest? And he can like sense what she's doing, I guess. And he's like, no, don't do that, Anastasia. He doesn't say that, but he grabs her hand, and she's like, why don't you like being touched? And he's like, because I'm 50 shades of fucked up. He's like, by the way, with that last thing where you were like on top, I just want you to remember that I was not giving you control. So that's not what happened. And she's like, well, you haven't taken account to my you haven't what? You haven't taken account. Oh my god. You haven't taken into account my GPA. But thank you for the illusion. And he's like, Miss Steele, you're not just a pretty face. You've had 6 orgasms so far, and all of them belong to me. I just want someone to tell me why that it matters. There's no context for this. She's literally just like, well, I'm smarter than you think I am. And he's like, well, you've had 6 orgasms and all of them belong to me. What do you mean? Why are you talking about that? Why is that relevant in any kind of way? The fact he's been counting, and then the fact he brings it up at the most random fucking time. What was the point of that? What was the point of that? Then she's like, well, actually, and then flashback to like beginning of chapter 14 or whatever, because the very beginning of the day, she woke up after a dream and she had like in her sleep basically, and she's like, so technically, you know, okay, I don't care. He says though, like, what was I doing? And she's like, I'd throw my arm over my eyes, and like a small child, I briefly entertained the thought that if I can't see him, then he can't see me. No. Stop doing that. It's not cute, it's not funny, it's embarrassing. Is this the millennial, like, 5-year-old behavior? Such fun things this chapter. He's like, when's your period due, by the way? And she's like, why do you want to know that? Basically, he's just like, I hate wearing condoms, and I don't have to when you're on your period. What do you mean? Okay, if you're talking about the myth, okay, that has been busted, that you cannot get pregnant on your period, that is false, and you can. So, yep. Yeah, they're just talking about all sorts of things. She's like, did you get me tipsy on purpose? And he's like, yes. Why? Because you overthink everything, and you're, I can't say that word, reticent. Like your stepdad. A drop of wine in you and you start talking, and I need you to communicate honestly with me. Otherwise, you can clam. I wanted to say calm. You can clam up, and I have no idea what you're thinking. In vino veritas, Anastasia. Okay. And you think you're honest with me? I endeavor to be. Yeah, sure. The fact that he's like, because you overthink things is why I had to get you drunk. Maybe she just doesn't feel comfortable with you. You know, maybe the fact she can't be honest with you is because like she just doesn't feel comfortable with you. Have you thought about that? Have you, perchance? They're still talking. And he's like, I'm gonna kidnap you if you don't sign the contract. Cute, playful banter. We love it. He might actually kidnap her. Like, I low-key, I could see it happening, though. But, okay. So she then, like, rolls her eyes at him, which, if you remember, last chapter, he was like, if you roll your eyes again, I'm gonna take you over my knee. And she's like, oh, oops. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna punish you now.
Do you understand why I had to punish you earlier?
Nothing wrong with it if it's consensual, I guess, but it doesn't feel like that, you know? He spanks her, and it just doesn't seem like she's enjoying this. I okay, so when you're first trying things out like this, there can be a lot of guilt associated with it if you enjoy it. You might be like, oh, I'm not supposed to enjoy this, and so I feel bad that I do enjoy it, but I am enjoying it. But the way that this reads is more like she just really doesn't like it, and then later she says something to him about, oh, but I was just because like I felt guilty about liking it. In the moment, like the way she was thinking just doesn't really align with that thought process to me. She thinks at one point during this is it. Our relationship hangs in the balance right here, right now. Do I let him do this or do I say no and then that's it? So it's like she basically is coerced into this because if she says no, she feels like if she says the safe word and she's like, no, I actually don't want to do this like at all, that he's going to be like, we can't have a relationship. Bye, which is the last thing that she wants to happen, so she just lets it happen anyways and then like comes up with an excuse later. Like cognitive dissonance. Even like while it's happening, she's thinking I have it in my notes, she's thinking from somewhere deep inside, I want to beg him to stop. Does that sound like someone who's like from somewhere deep inside enjoying it? No, not to me. She is having like a physical reaction to it, like, you know, but it just feels more like she doesn't like it. Personally, I don't think she really trusts him. The whole time she's just worried about getting hurt, which I think if you really trust your partner, you would trust that you're not going to get hurt because you know that you can use the safe word if you feel like that's maybe there's limits being reached and you might actually get hurt. It's just not what happens here, and it's just really uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. Like I said though, I stand by this, that I think there's other ways that you can come up with punishments so that it isn't about physical pain, and there can be other forms of punishment in my opinion, and there's so much more to BDSM than pain play. It's like, why is he so unwilling to bend on this? And I know that's all because of his dark and mysterious past, but it's like, I don't care. Okay, you are a grown-ass man. You are like what, 27, 28? You've been going to therapy for how long, and you still are like this. You're still acting like this. Grow up. Grow up. After the whole thing, they like snuggle together a little bit though, and then she's like kind of processing things, and I don't know, I guess it's like a very sad excuse for aftercare. A very sad substitute for aftercare, but she kind of feels sated after, and it's like, I don't really know how to feel about all of this. Again, I just don't think the two thought processes like match up. I don't think that her going from I feel like this is me being abused to maybe I liked it makes sense to me. And I, haven't done this before, so maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is actually very normal, natural way to think about things. I can't say confidently with my whole chest that that's what's happening here, but I just think that there's something that's happening here that's not healthy. And I know I didn't read that much from the scene because it just makes me uncomfortable, but for people that maybe have read it before, or just people who have their own interpretations of it or have their own experiences to share, I'm learning too. Feel free to always drop a comment or just try and educate me because I'm learning too. So he does not stay the night. They just snuggle a little bit and he's like, oh yeah, sorry, I have to leave. And she's like standing there and she's like, I feel lonely and uncomfortable, like this is just not a healthy situation, So she calls her mom for like guy advice after this whole thing though. Her mom is like, oh, you should just come to Georgia and come visit me and your stepfather, and it'll help so much to get a little break or whatever, which I think is pretty valid, honestly. I think space is really important sometimes. If you're going through a lot of complex feelings, getting space is a good idea, but so that's kind of the next development that's gonna start happening here. Kate comes home. She starts like shitting on Christian because Anna's very clearly upset, which is like, thank you.
Thank you for saving me. I was so thirsty.
It's like, I'm so tired of reading from Anna's perspective where she just justifies every single thing that Christian does. It's like, finally we have someone come in who's just like, I fucking hate him. I hate him. And I'm like, same, that's me. That's me. Christian ends up emailing Anna though, and after this whole situation, and he's like, by the way, you're so amazing. I'm in awe of you. You're so brave and everything. And she's just like, I don't even know what, I don't care. But it's like, is that not love bombing? Like, you're gonna hurt her physically and make her feel like she was physically abused, and then you're just gonna be like, but you're so brave for doing that. No. They kind of have a little back and forth though, and she's like, I'm not sure I like you anyway, especially at the moment. He's like, why don't you like me? Because you never stay with me. Oh, boo-hoo. No, that is kind of shitty though. Like, he just left, like, girl. Literally, oh my god, literally, she says, and then this evening, he actually hit me. I've never been hit in my life. She's not thinking of this as like play. She's thinking of like, I just got physically abused. I just got hit by a man. She's thinking, I've fallen for someone who's so emotionally shut down. I'll only get hurt. Deep down, I know this. Someone who, by his own admission, is completely fucked up. Why is he so fucked up? Why does it matter? Okay? If it's not your responsibility to fix that. Okay? That's not the last time I'm gonna say this, by the way. It's just depressing. It's just like sad to see her in this position where she feels like she can't move on from him because she likes him so much, but he's so clearly abusing her and making her feel worse about everything. It's just like, what, like, I know that when you're being groomed and you're a victim of all of this kind of manipulation and stuff, it's really hard to like walk away. But it's so frustrating as a reader to see this happen and to not be talking about it in a responsible way, and for the author to just be like, oh, this is just like so cute and romantic and it's just drama and it's all for the silly drama. Like, no, this is a serious thing that's going on. He's seriously abusing her and we're just gonna write it all off. Like, I am so tired. I'm so tired. So he comes back to the house though because he got this email and he was like, oh, I have to be with her. I was like, wow, you couldn't have thought of that before? Okay. But Kate literally meets him at the door though, and she's like, get the out, get the out of here. And I'm like, yeah, get the out of here. Like, oh my god. Kate, thank you for being here this chapter. I don't think I could have made it here without you. And I wish that she didn't completely up another situation later. So he ends up coming inside though, and he's talking to Anna, and she's like, you need to open up, like, you know, please talk to me. And she's really uncomfortable with that because like all the stuff that's been happening, you know, and you just get her drunk, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm sorry. He says, how can I trust anything you said to me? How can I trust anything you've ever done? Ever? What the fuck? He gives her Advil and all that stuff, and he ends up saying like, I don't even know what the context for this is because I don't even know. But he says, I've wanted to spank you since you asked me if I was gay.
I like women only!
Is it that big of a deal if she asked you a question? Why are you so defensive about it? Do you have a little secret? Are you gay? Are you gay? I don't know. Nothing wrong with it. Sorry. I'm tweaking you a little bit. So she's upset. She's like, you don't like me the way I am. You want me to be more submissive, whatever. And he's like, I think you're lovely the way you are. So why are you trying to change me? I don't want to change you. I'd like you to be courteous and to follow the set of rules I've given you and not defy me. Simple. So you want her to change. You want her to change her behavior. So you want her to change. Yeah. But you do want to punish me. Yes, I do. That's what I don't understand. He sighs and runs his hand through his hair again. It's the way I'm made, Anastasia. I need to control you. I need you to behave in a certain way. And if you don't, I love to watch your beautiful alabaster skin pink and warm under my hands. It turns me on. So it's not the pain you're putting me through? He swallows a bit to see if you can take it. but that's not the whole reason. It's the fact that you're mine to do with as I see fit. Ultimate control over someone else, and it turns me on big time, Anastasia. Look, I'm not explaining myself very well. I've never had to before. I've not really thought about this in any great depth. I've always been with like-minded people. He shrugs apologetically. And you still haven't answered my question. How do you feel after? Confused. You were sexually aroused by it, Anastasia. Don't tell her how to feel. Don't tell her how to feel. Okay? Shut up. If it's not about pain though, like I feel like you can just find ways to do things that you both enjoy. Like, what is the point, honestly, of this? And she's thinking like, I feel like I'm getting in too deep for my own good. And he's like, no, that's how I feel. Die. Okay. But he ends up staying for the night, and then they just sleep. So they wake up the next morning. Christian's got a skedaddle skedoodle because he's late for a meeting. I'm just gonna read her email to him after he leaves. She's like, you wanted to know why I felt confused after you, which euphemism should we apply? Which euphemism should we apply? Spanked, punished, beat, assaulted me? Well, during the whole alarming process, I felt demeaned, debased, and abused, and much to my mortification, you're right, I was aroused, and that was unexpected. As you are well aware, all things sexual are new to me. I only wish I was more experienced and therefore more prepared. I was shocked to feel aroused. She wish she was more experienced. I wish she was more experienced too. She's like, what really worried me was how I felt afterward, and that's more difficult to articulate. I was happy that you were happy. I felt relieved that it wasn't painful as I thought it would be. But when I was lying in your arms, I felt sated, but I felt very uncomfortable, guilty even, feeling that way. It doesn't sit well with me, and I'm confused as a result. Does that answer your question? What he says back, we'll talk about this in a sec. What he says back is, I'll go with spanking as that's what it was. So you felt demeaned, debased, abused, and assaulted. How very Tess Derby field of you from the books, where she is literally raped, mind you. I believe it was you who decided on the debasement, if I had remembered correctly. Do you really feel like this, or do you think you ought to feel like this? Two very different things. If that is how you feel, do you think you could try to embrace these feelings, deal with them for me? That's what a submissive would do. My hair's in my face. I'm grateful for your inexperience. I value it, and I'm only beginning to understand what it means. What? Simply put, it means you are mine in every way. Yes, you were aroused, which in turn was very arousing. There's nothing wrong with that. And then he talks about how he feels. He's like, don't waste your energy on guilt, feelings of wrongdoing, etc. We are consenting adults, and what we do behind closed doors is between ourselves. You need to free your mind and listen to your body. Let's take a pause here. So, again, I kind of mentioned this before. Feeling guilty about enjoying these kinds of things is normal. That happens because it's kind of expected that we shouldn't enjoy these things, and so when you find out you might enjoy them or you do enjoy them, there can be a lot of guiltiness that comes with that, right? The problem to me is how she frames it. So she doesn't talk about this during the scene in a way that aligns with what she says now, but also the fact that she literally says, should I call it abuse? I felt abused. Even if you're enjoying something that you feel like you shouldn't be enjoying, I don't think that it's healthy to be considering that experience abuse. If you are going through something that is considered punishment in a BDSM context, and you feel like that is abuse, it might just be abuse, actually, because there are dominants out there who are abusive and do take advantage of their partner. It's real. It's a sad reality. And I hate that she feels like it's abuse, and they try and make that seem like that's normal, when in reality, yeah, you might feel guilt, but if you feel abused, there's probably something else going on. And again, if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know. This is just the way that I'm thinking of it, and I don't feel like this makes sense. And it's also just the fact that he reads this email, he acknowledges her feelings. He's like, I see where you're coming from, but I want you to deal with those emotions because that's what you should do as a submissive. Like, what do you mean? Instead of him reevaluating his own treatment of her, he's like, just get over it. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. I would scream if I was home alone, and I could, but I don't want someone to come into my room and be like, why were you screaming? And I'm like, I was just thinking about Christian Grey. That whole line about liking that she's inexperienced is so disgusting. Genuinely, so disgusting. And then the fact that he's like, I'm sorry, I'm just unpacking so much here. He's like, don't waste your energy on guilt. But then he's like, I want you to, if you do genuinely feel guilty, I want you to embrace those feelings. How is she going to embrace the feelings if she has to ignore them now? Make it make sense. Make it make sense, okay? She says something about like, what if I just ran away or whatever? And he's like, I'm gonna find you. I'll hunt you down. Okay, gross. And she's like, have you sought therapy for your stalker tendencies? I pay the eminent Dr. Flynn a small fortune with regard to my stalker and other tendencies. Get a better therapist. In moments like these, I would say go to therapy, but he is going to therapy and it's not working. So get a better therapist. And she even says, like, may I humbly suggest you seek a second opinion? I'm not sure that Dr. Flynn is very effective. And he's like, not that it's any of your business, but he is my second opinion, I guess. I don't know what that means. How can he be the second opinion if he's one person? You're lying. At this point, I think he has to die. I think that's the only option. I think I have to kill him. So she's thinking about everything. She's like, yeah, I'm an adult, whatever. But, you know, the problem is I just want Christian and not all this baggage, you know? It's like, I know. I know you do. Find someone else. Find someone else. I said this so much in part 1 too, but how many times do I have to say it? Like, if you are not happy with him and something is wrong and you are forcing it to work, it might just be a sign that you just shouldn't be in a relationship together and that it's not going to work. Can we accept that and move on, please? Please. Please. I'm so tired just of this back and forth. Like, if you're not happy, you have the power to end the relationship and to say, you know, I don't like it. Bye. And then find someone else who can treat you well. Please use your medulla oblongata and think of a better option, okay? He ends up gifting her a BlackBerry, which is like a phone for people that don't know. I had to look it up, to be completely honest with you, because I was not around with technology. I did not have technology in 2011, okay? At some point in this chapter, they had a conversation about birth control as well, so that's kind of like the next thing that happens. So, or like the next sort of setup for, I think, the next chapter. I don't even know. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Their next like meeting together, she's gonna see a doctor, like a gynecologist, an OBGYN, to get prescribed a birth control so that he cannot use a condom because he doesn't like them. Which, like, okay, when I was first reading this book and he was using them consistently, I was like, you know, at least there's one thing, you know, at least he uses them and he doesn't complain about them. And then I started reading more and it became clear that he doesn't like them and that he's just like every other love interest ever. And why are we demonizing them, honestly? Like, come on, guys. And I want to just remind everyone, okay? The main usage of them might be to, you know, prevent pregnancy, but they also prevent STIs or STDs. Remember, guys, they serve other usages. More pointless things happen that don't involve Christian, and Anna gets distracted, and Christian's like, you didn't respond to my emails, I'm so mad at you, and it's dumb, and yeah. So in response to her not messaging her, he sends a voice message I think you need to learn to manage my expectations. I'm not a patient man. If you say you're going to contact me when you finish work, then you should have the decency to do so. Otherwise, I worry, and it's not an emotion I'm familiar with, and I don't tolerate it very well. Call me. I think that he should learn it. He should learn to manage his emotions and to not grim people. Cool. That's the character development I want. She calls him and I don't know, she just tells him what's up and he's like, calm down, I guess. But then they have the whole like, you hang up. I don't want to hang up. Neither do I. I don't fucking care. I want to die. If he's not gonna die, I guess I'll do it. I'll take one for the team. Just, I hate it here. I like mentioned this in part 1, I think, but Anna and Kate are like moving up to Seattle, so they've finished doing that now. Just fast forwarding through all of the house stuff because it's irrelevant. And Christian gives her champagne as a housewarming gift. The next day she goes over to Christian's place. It's just so convenient that like as soon as Anna moves up to Seattle, like she's finished moving, that Christian's like now back in Seattle as well. I guess maybe he was staying for the graduation, but still, how convenient. Isn't that fun? He's like, I have the OBGYN for you. And he's like, I thought I was seeing your doctor, and don't tell me you're really a woman because I won't believe you. So she didn't know that he was finding a gynecologist for her, so she thought she was just going to see his doctor, right? Just to clarify. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, you know? I'm kind of losing it. That's just such a fun comment. Isn't it so funny, guys? Isn't she so funny? Listen, I know I'm not always that funny either, okay? I'm just kind of crashing out over here. But like, isn't she so funny, guys? Isn't she? So she's like, okay, well, I have to go do my appointment now. I have to go do my appointment. I have to go do my appointment now. And he's like, by the way, do you want to go to my parents' house, meet my parents, and have dinner with us? And she's like, okay, I guess tonight. Gulp. You know, yeah. So very last minute, but she's like, sure. And so, oh boy, these next few chapters are just so fun. But you know, he's like, I can't wait to get you naked, and then the chapter ends. We're gonna time skip past the appointment because it doesn't matter. I'll let you on a little secret. Nothing matters in this book. Okay, so you know, blah 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 blah, and the doctor leaves and she's like, I actually have to abstain from sexual activity for, what did she say, the next 4 weeks. He starts to look angry and she's like, gotcha. And he's like, gotcha. Isn't this fun, guys? Isn't this great? Are we having such a good time? So they have lunch and they both get turned on again. And I just challenge you to find one time in this book, any given moment, okay, where they don't get turned on by existing in each other's presence. So they're having a conversation though, and he's like, don't let anyone try to convince you otherwise. I guess. What is otherwise of what? That she's so cool, basically. And he's like, one of the reasons people like me do this is because we either like to give or receive pain. It's very simple. You don't, so I spent a great deal of time yesterday thinking about that. Wow, guys, he's finally thinking about things. Aw. I'd clap, but my hands... Oops, my hands fall. The solution's just so simple. Just don't inflict pain on her. You said yourself that it's not just about the pain, it's more about the control. So put that into action, buddy. I dare you. But he won't. So he takes her to his playroom and he's like, you might not have signed the contract yet, but I still want to do things and I'm impatient. Fun. So yeah, so he's like, take your shoes off, he orders softly. I swallow, and rather clumsily, I take them off. He bends and picks them up and deposits them besides the door. Good. Don't hesitate when I ask you to do something. Was that hesitation? Did anyone else see hesitation? She swallowed. She took a little gulp. Gulp. And then she took them off. So he strips her down to her her undies, and then braids her hair. What a gentleman. Okay. He tells her like how he wants her to wait for him in the room for future times. Because this is obviously her first time doing it, and he does end up like leaving and coming back, I think. Let me just tell you what she's supposed to do. He wants her to kneel by the door and place your hands and forearms flat on your thighs, part your knees wide, and look down at the floor. And if you've seen the movie, like they do this in the movie, it's so unnatural to me. Like it's not, it's so weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm just judging. Maybe I don't understand. I don't know. But is that supposed to be like sexy? Like a sexy little position she's in? Because she's just sitting there and kneeling really awkwardly. So Christian leaves and comes back. Just like I just left and put makeup on and came back because I felt insecure. But, you know, he comes back and he's wearing ripped jeans. And this is his dom fit. It's pretty bad. Just ripped jeans. Like, is that supposed to be sexy? Like, I ask once again. It's just jeans. It's just ripped jeans. How am I supposed to take anything seriously when this entire time he's just in f***ing ripped jeans? I imagine they're like the skinny jeans too. No. And he's supposed to be a Greek god. No. I mean, sure, whatever floats your boat. Okay. So he wants to like start doing things though. More intense stuff. And she, just to get started, I guess, I don't know. What does he even want to do? Oh, he has a riding crop and he's gonna like, I don't know, hit her a little bit, but he's like, this is not going to hurt. And she's like, is this not going to hurt? Like, she's thinking in her head, like, do you really trust him? Are you really gonna sit there and tell me you trust him when he tells you it's not going to hurt and you can't even trust him to be telling the truth? Like, I don't know, girl, you gotta figure your shit out. I can't do this anymore. I mean, I have to because now I'm committed, but she's like chained up, okay? And it's like she's attached to this weird like maze or something. I'm genuinely so confused about what this is supposed to be. They don't use a name. I don't think he names it. So I need someone to tell me what this is. And he's gonna like f her and like move her along the maze, or like to one side to another side. So maybe it's not a maze, maybe it's just a line. I don't know. I've never heard of this before. So what happens when you reach the end? He's using the riding crop, which I mentioned before, and he like flicks it on her clit. Cool. She likes it. Cool. Just imagine it like a wand. It's like, guys, I feel like I shouldn't be talking about Harry Potter on the internet in 2025, but I'm thinking of the like swish and flick. He's flicking something, that's for sure. See, I'm just reading my notes, so I'm like looking at it and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. And I'm like confused once again because it says he like flicks her there, right? But I thought she was standing. And like, you know, I'm not saying it's not possible. It doesn't seem like optimal clit whipping position, but who am I to tell? Who am I to say? I don't know things. She's standing like this, and you went like that, like, but he's just like kind of playing around with the riding crop this whole time. Just kind of like, I think he puts it in her mouth. It's kind of ew. She tastes like leather. I'm like, ew. But then it says she comes gloriously. Wow. And then he's still in his jeans, don't worry, and he goes all the way with her. And she's like in her post-orgasm glow, and she's like, I want to touch him really bad. And again, he's like, no, you can't. And so the book says She's thinking, I want to run my tongue through the hair on his chest, okay? Kiss him, and for the first time, I notice he has a few random and faint, small, round scars dotted around his chest. Chicken pox, measles, I think absently. So it's neither of those things. I don't. Yeah, she says what it is later, but it's kind of obvious if you're like thinking like, oh, he's a tragic male lead. What could it possibly be? Take a guess. I won't spoiler it. Spoiler. I won't spoil it yet, don't worry, but it's pretty obvious. Why do you want to lick his chest hairs? Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I just don't get it, guys. Just to make this situation even more fun than it already is, because I know it's so fun. He brings out the cable ties he bought from Clayton's, as in the hardware store that Anna used to work at. Bought those back in like chapter 2 or 3. Please don't use those. Did you really think they wouldn't come back? They always come back. He like ties her hands. I remember being so confused again on like what position was even happening here. So I think he ties her hands together, like the wrists maybe together. Then he has her hold on to a bedpost, and then he does her like that. A lot of this whole thing is him being like don't defy me, and her being like yes sir, and he's like yes sir, yes sir. I'm like okay, God, it's so I don't like the dirty talk. I don't know if I would like dirty talk like anywhere. The only time I can think is when I read the Priory of the Orange Tree, and it's not like dirty talk. She was just like, I can be generous too, and that was good. But this, what is this? What is this? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Might I have a sip of booze?
They finish up, leave, whatever. I don't know. Do they do aftercare? I don't know, and I don't want to look and see because I didn't put in my notes, so that's all you get. And then they're like giggling and laughing together, and they're like, it was so fun. And it's like, I'm glad you guys had fun. The fun will end, unfortunately. Yeah, it's because he is abusive. He patiently dresses her as if she was a small child. It's nap time for her though. It's nap time for the 2-year-old child. So hugs you, me. We just love calling her a child, don't we? Yep. Can't go too long without doing that. Can we? Is it the millennial thing? Buckle in, because chapter 19 is a rough one. I'm warning you now. Get comfortable. Grab a snack. Grab a drink, you know? This one sucks. We're just starting on a great note here. So
We get really close and personal for this.
Christian wakes her up, and she got a little nap in. He's like, oh, you have to wake up because you said you'd go to dinner with me to my parents and, you know, meet my parents and stuff. And so you need to go like get dressed and get ready, you know? And so she gets up, she's getting ready, and she's like, he took my underwear. Yeah. And she's like, I must not concede to him. I must not lose the game. So I'll just like not ask for them back. He's like in a really good mood though, because he finally got to do things with her, like in the playroom. And he's like, oh, come dance with me, mi amor. I don't know. And they're like dancing a little bit. Is there music? I think maybe there was music. I don't even know. Probably some classical music. It's always classical music, except for the one time it's not. In which case, it's the worst possible choice of music ever. But don't worry, we'll get there. So, they kind of dance around. Again, that could be cute if, you know, this wasn't grooming and abuse. I do think that, like, so far, there's been a few things that have been red flags, but it's really like this chapter, to be honest, that triggered me so badly when I was reading. Triggered as in just like set me off. I sent, I think, probably at least 20 minutes worth of voice messages to my friend about this episode, this episode, about this chapter. So like I said, buckle in. They leave though. They're on their way to his parents' house, and they get onto the I-5, or the Interstate 5 as she calls it. Again, another reason why she's not a local, because everyone here in this area calls it the I-5, okay? Everyone calls it the I-5. Stop. You're a faker. You're a liar. I don't appreciate it. I also hate that because I've been on the I-5 countless times. Get off of my fucking road, bro. So she's like, oh, where'd you learn to dance? And he's like, Mrs. Robinson, which, again, reminder, because I think this is the first time she's come up this book. That's the woman that essentially groomed Christian, really, when he was 15 into being a submissive, and he was her submissive for like 7 years or something. So he's like, oh yeah, she taught me how to dance. And then Anna starts to get like jealous, okay? And it says, I hope I never meet her, Mrs. Robinson, because I will not be responsible for my actions if I do. You will actually, because you're 21 years old and you're an adult, but okay. Honestly, real though, because if I saw a pedophile, sniped. But I can't remember ever feeling this passionately about anyone, especially someone I've never met, gazing unseeing out the window. I nurse my irrational anger and jealousy. So she's just, angry over a pedophile. Natural. Totally. Are we gonna unpack that? No, we're not. We're just gonna pretend it's normal. Yep. Okay. Thanks for nothing. You cannot sit there and tell me it's okay to be jealous, not just angry with, but jealous, specifically jealous over the child abuser that groomed your partner. Jealous? Don't do that again. She does it again. She does it a lot. She's jealous a lot. Shut up. By the way, I just want to say, being jealous is a sign of probably feeling insecure in a relationship, which just, again, goes to show that grooming someone and being in a relationship with someone that has groomed you is just really going to cause more insecurity. It's not a healthy foundation. You're not going to feel secure. The other person's not going to be thinking of you in a healthy way. Nothing about this is good, okay? And we're seeing that it's not good because she's jealous. I don't even care that much about her being jealous, I guess, over another woman. It's just the fact that it's the fucking woman that abused him that she's jealous over. It's one thing to be jealous, and that's a whole other conversation we can have. But to be jealous over your partner's past abuser is insane. I hate it. Thanks, I hate it. She's like, oh, why'd you use the cable tie, by the way? And he grins. He's like, it's quick, it's easy, and it's something different for you to feel and experience. I know they're quite brutal, and I do like that in a restraining device. Very effective at keeping you in your place. So brutal is one word. It's literally can be dangerous because that could actually hurt someone. The reason why people have equipment that is specifically made for this is because it can get dangerous and you need to have proper equipment. So what's wrong with you? What's actually wrong with you? Never buy, I will say this as many times as I need to, never buy BDSM equipment at the hardware store. What are we doing? So they get to his parents' place. She meets the fam and she's like, holy cow. Holy cow, really?
Cow a bummer.
So Christian has his two parents. He has Elliot is there, and he actually brought Kate. And he also has a sister. Did I mention that he was adopted? I don't remember. I did not rewatch my video before filming this, if you can tell. So yeah, so Elliot brought Kate, and what a coinky dink. Yikes. And they sit down, they start talking about stuff. They were talking about vacations because Kate is planning her vacation, or just got back from her vacation or something. Oh yeah, they're going on a vacation. And it says, I glance at Kate and she grins, her eyes bright and wide. She's delighted. Catherine Kavanagh. Show some dignity. What do you mean? Literally, what do you mean?
Give me just a little dignity.
And you're gonna sit there and be like, show some dignity to your friend who's just excited, didn't say anything, or didn't even act weird at all. Okay, shut up. Oh, you saw my snack. But while they're on the topic of vacations, Anna's like, oh yeah, you know, I was kind of talking to my mom about potentially visiting her in Georgia. And Christian's like, what? You didn't tell me about that. What the? What?
Oh, hey, Zeus. You ready to...
I thought I told you to call me when you're ready to leave the bathroom.
He was like, when were you going to tell me you were leaving? I'm not leaving. I'm going to see my mother, and I was only thinking about it. What about our arrangement? We don't have an arrangement yet. This conversation is not over. Oh, crapola. Say that again. She's so immature. It's like, first, holy cow. Now, oh, crapola. Like, you're 21, ma'am. Okay, I don't think like that. I have a lot of thoughts, but I don't think like that. If I say holy cow, I'm saying it so ironically. There's so much that happens in this chapter. I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like, what is that? Yeah, I hate this chapter. Deep breath. Okay, so Anna's like, please don't be mad at me. Like, she can tell that he's upset. She's like, please don't be mad at me. He's like, yes, I'm mad at you. And she's like, palm twitchingly mad. Like, as in, are you gonna want to spank me? And Kate's like, what are you two whispering about? And then she's like, oh yeah, how was, you know, going to the bar with Jose the other day? That happened. I didn't even mention it because it only exists for this exact moment. But and then he just responds, palm twitchingly mad. So that pissed him off. Isn't this fun, guys? Gulp. So Kate says that, by the way. I just want to let you guys know, okay? Kate has been fine so far. I haven't really cared about Kate that much. I feel like Anna's been kind of like a little bit rude to her, but honestly, I don't care that much. Like, whatever, you know? I'm gonna mention it, but it's like, I don't care about any of these characters enough to be like, Anna, you're so rude, stop. But this moment, this chapter pissed me off so bad. Oh my god. So she says this. She's like, how was the bar with Jose, by the way? And she admits this later. The reason she said this at this moment was to make Christian jealous, okay? Like, if I liked Kate's character at all, this is when I no longer liked her character, okay? This is when all hope was lost, and I knew that the lights went out. I cannot believe she would do something so irresponsible. Like, imagine, okay? Like, oh my god. I'm sorry, I have to take a moment here. I have to gather myself here. So, Kate has been here since the beginning, okay? She's been friends with Anna since the beginning. She saw Christian. She was like, oh, he's interested in you. You should like go for him. But she has been seeing how badly he's been treating her. She's seen Anna be so upset and be crying all the time, which she never cried before. And she's like noticed all these things. And she seems genuinely concerned for Anna. And she's like, she can obviously tell that this is not a healthy relationship. And even when Christian came over the other day and she was like, get the out of here, you know, like all this stuff, it's like it seems like she is understanding and recognizing that Christian is not like a good guy for Anna, you know? So she's really gonna recognize that and then be like, oh, I'm just gonna make him jealous of you though. Like, do you not understand how potentially dangerous that could be? I mean, like, luckily we live in a fantasy world, a fictional world where everything's gonna be fine because Anna's the main character. But in a real situation with someone who's actually abusive or potentially abusive, you're putting her as a friend, okay? I would never do that. You're putting her in danger by doing that because you don't know what he could do. You don't know what kind of things he might do to Anna later in private, you know? Like, I could never do that. If a friend is in an abusive situation and you are recognizing that, you do not say, I'm going to make them jealous so that, you know, he gets more like into her or something. Like, she explains it later. I'm going to probably have to basically repeat this rant. But I just cannot understand that. As a friend, how could you ever put your friend in that situation and think that that's a good decision? I like flabbergasted. And I will say he wants to punish her later. He doesn't punish her later. We'll get there. But like she is one of the reasons this like low key like pushed him over the edge, as we see, because she's like palm twitchingly mad, and then after this he's like, yeah, like that is fucking insane that you can write that, and like, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah. I just need to move on because yeah. Okay. We also be a little lighter now, hopefully. So we have a weird little moment. So Grace, Christian's mom, is she works as a nurse or a doctor or something. I think she's a doctor. That's right. Yeah. And she's like, oh, another measles case. The 4th this month. If only people would get their kids vaccinated, which is like, okay, cool. It was so random. I just wasn't expecting it. I had to say, don't worry, guys. E.L. James is pro vaccination. I mean, I am too, but like, I was like, what are we doing? This chapter is so overwhelming. There's so much happening. So they have a maid, and she's like European. And just like with the blondes though, from literally chapter 1, she's just immediately thinking of this girl weirdly, you know? Like, there's this line like, little Miss European pigtails returns all coy glances and swaying hips with our entrees. Fortunately, she gives us our plates and then leaves, although she lingers handing Christian his. This is just everyone being jealous of each other at once. She's jealous of Christian's abuser, groomer, and he's jealous of her best friend, and she's jealous of the maid that his parents have. And I hate everything that's happening here. Can we not be disrespectful? The like coy glances and swaying hips, and the name itself is so bad. Just say you hate women. Just say you hate women, Anna. Okay? Just say it. Just say it. This is disgusting too. I hate this chapter. I genuinely think this is this has to be my least favorite chapter. So it says, so she's just kind of like sitting there after whatever, I don't know, they're eating, and it says Elliot holds forth about his, that's a weird, okay. Elliot holds forth about his latest building project, a new eco-friendly community to the north of Seattle. I glance up at Kate, and she's hanging on every word Elliot says, her eyes glowing with lust or love. I haven't quite worked out which yet. He grins down at her, and it's as if an unspoken promise passes between them. Laters, baby, he's saying, and it's hot, freaking hot. I flush just watching them. That's your friend. That's your best friend and her boyfriend interacting with each other, and you're like what, like getting off on that? Like, what's happening? It says, I sigh and peek up at 50 Shades. That's her new nickname for Christian, by the way. After he said that 50 Shades of f***ed up thing, I'm like, kill me, someone, end my suffering. I must have forgotten to add it to my notes, but I remember this happened. There was a moment where he tried to like touch her during the dinner. Oh my god. I'm trying to find the thing that I was talking about, but then it just says that the little Miss European pigtails or whatever find Christian's, and she blushes and gazes at him from under her long mascara covered lashes. Oh my god, pick me. Yep, okay, here it is. It says during, he's talking to his parents or whatever, and it says his fingers, like, or he puts his hand once more on my knee and his fingers travel up my thigh, and then she like closes them tighter together so he can't do anything. So, but he wanted to during the dinner with his family. This chapter's almost over. Thank God. The next one's a little bit better, at least, but this one ends and he drags her out to his family's boathouse, and he's like, I'm going to spank and then fuck you.
What do you mean?
Girl, I hate him. I hate him so much. The chapter 20 starts where the other one leaves off. So he opens up the boathouse, he drags her in, and she's like, please don't hit me. I don't want you to spank me. Not here, not now. Please don't. And then she kind of starts to like kiss him and like make out with him, and as a way to like convince him to not spank her and like punish her in his parents' boathouse after having dinner with his parents, who are literally just in the main house. Okay, yep. He's like kind of calming down, but so he doesn't end up doing it. But the fact she had to literally like beg him, she's like, please, not right now, you know, like again, there's just sometimes that she says things where I'm like, how is this not abuse? Because it has to be. Okay, there's only one answer, and I'm correct. Basically, he just says that I was mad because, you know, you closed your legs when I was trying to touch you. And he's like, no one's ever said no to me before, and it's so hot. If it's hot, why are you trying to punish her? You're mad and turned on because I said no? And he's like, I'm mad because you never mentioned Georgia to me. I'm mad because you went drinking with that guy who tried to seduce you when you were drunk. Seduce? No. Assault. Yeah, that's not her fault. Stop victim blaming. And who left you when you were ill with an almost complete stranger? What kind of friend does that? And I'm mad and aroused because you closed your legs on me. And he's like, I want you now. Why would he think that anyone would want to be f***ed in front of their partner's parents? Just genuine question.
I'm gonna finger bang you into my life.
So he like fucks her after that, like just like hard and fast, okay? And he's like, this is for my enjoyment, not for yours, so you're not allowed to come. And that's her like punishment, which is like low-key what I've been saying is like, if she doesn't want to do pain, just like, you can just edge her. So he doesn't hurt her, okay? But she literally has to beg him not to hurt her. And again, like, the reason that he wants to do this is just so fucking dumb. It's like all things that he's just trying to it's because of her personal relationships. He has no business trying to control those parts of her life. It's not in the contract, so it doesn't even make sense within the book. She does not have to report to you on like every thing ever in her life. That's not dominant behavior, that's abusive behavior. So he ends up giving her her underwear back finally. Bet you forgot about that. A lot happened between that and everything else, but yeah. I forgot about it. Christian's sister comes out and is like, oh, what were you guys doing? Like, she doesn't catch them, you know, but she's like, oh, it's kind of weird that you're out here. But they go back inside. Anna goes to talk to Kate. And they already talked about it, but I'll just kind of share with you what Kate said. So Anna is like, I need to speak to you about antagonizing Christian. I hiss quietly in her ear. She embraces me. She like hugs her. She says he needs antagonizing. Then you can see what he's really like. Be careful, Anna. He's so controlling. See you later. And then I think she just leaves after that. I think that's all she says. Look at just all capitals. I know what he's really like. You don't. I scream at her in my head. But she just leaves. You know, she doesn't actually say anything else to her. But it's like, okay, again. Kate literally is saying you need to be careful. You need to be careful because he's so controlling, and if he's antagonized, you can see what he's really like. So are you saying that like she should get abused to realize that she's being abused? Like she should be abused worse than she already is so that she'll dump him? Like, the logic is not logicking. What is happening? What is happening in your little pea-sized medulla oblongata, okay? What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? Again, as a friend, how could you ever see your friend in a situation that feels abusive to you and you think, it's fine, I'll just make him jealous so that she leaves her, so that she sees that he's a piece of shit and leaves him. That's not how that's gonna fucking work. They're gonna get abused, and it's gonna be your fault that you triggered it. I mean, obviously it's not her fault completely. It's Christian's fault for being an abusive piece of shit. But, you know, it's gonna be your fault if you say something to provoke him and he actually acts on that and actually harms her. Okay, like, you're not protecting her, you're not helping her, you're not doing anything except for making the situation worse than it already is. And I cannot fathom how Kate thinks that she's in the right for this, how maybe the author thinks that this is supposed to be like a super helpful friend move or something. Like, this like almost pisses me off more than Christian being a piece of shit, because he's been a piece of shit this whole time. But then of course Kate is just like, oh my god, what do I even say anymore? I'm repeating myself. I hate this book. I hate it. After the dinner, Anna, Kate's already left, but Anna says goodbye to their parents, or Christian's parents, and they leave, and she ends up turning to Christian. She's like, I think you felt trapped into bringing me. Like, literally, what do you mean? Like, why do you think he wouldn't want to take you? Like, this whole entire time, he keeps talking about, like, oh, I'm just so into you, and you drive me crazy, and, you make me, I don't know, make me freak, and it's like, this whole time, that's all he's been saying. And you're like, I don't know why you'd want to take me here to meet your parents. Maybe he just wants you to be part of his life. I don't understand where that insecurity comes from. Probably because she was fucking groomed. Never mind. It's all just because she's groomed, and this whole entire relationship is founded on grooming and abuse. That's why. Never mind. I answered my own question. So he asks if he can go to Georgia with her to see her mom. And she's like, no, I don't really want that. And it's because she wants distance from him. That's kind of why this whole trip was even proposed, so she could get some space from him and think. She doesn't really portray that yet, but she does later. And she's thinking, like, holy crap, how did this become such an intense and meaningful conversation? It's been sprung on me like an exam that I'm not prepared for. What do I say? Because I think I love you and you see me as a toy? That's why she's like uncomfortable with the arrangement or something. I don't know. Because I can't touch you, because I'm too frightened to show you any affection in case you flinch or tell me off, or worse, beat me. What can I say? But it's like the fact she's like, what if you beat me? And you feel safe with him? He's already said, I don't want to use you. This is just BDSM play, whatever. And she's still over here like, what if he uses me? Like, what if he like literally beats me? If you're in a relationship and you think, what if he beats me? Leave. I know it's not always that simple, obviously, but in this situation, it kind of is, because you could literally say, I don't want to be in a relationship with you, and he probably would just let you go, because, as long as you give a legitimate reason, I think he would. So do it while you can, do it while you're really not that deep into it, but it's just like, no. They agree that she's gonna go to Georgia, she'll think about it, and she'll like, whatever, get some space, and then sign the contract, whatever, I don't know. And they're both kind of trying to meet in the middle here, right? In my opinion, I think Anna's sacrificed a lot more. I mean, I think I've made that pretty clear, but just in case anyone had doubts. She's like sitting on his lap or something during this whole car ride home, by the way. But they get back, and she's staying the night, and they can't go a fucking minute without being horny, okay? But they're in the goddamn fucking elevator. It's always the elevators, and I don't know why it's the elevators, okay? But they're in the elevator, and he's like, one day I'll fuck you in this elevator.
What do I do?
Why do you like elevators, sir? Why do you have like an elevator kink? So he's like, come on, Miss Steele, you have a big day tomorrow. Sooner you're in bed, sooner you'll be fucked, and sooner you can sleep. Mr. Gray, you are a born romantic. Miss Steele, you have a smart mouth, and I might have to subdue it some way. Come. He takes her to the door, the bedroom door, kicks the door closed. Hands in the air. I oblige, and in one breathtakingly swift move, he removes my dress like a magician, grasping it at the hem and pulling it smoothly and fleetingly over my head. Ta-da, he says playfully. I giggle and applaud politely. He bows gracefully, grinning. How can I resist him when he's like this? Pretty easily, pretty easily. He places my dress on the lone chair beside his chest drawers. And for your next trick, I prompt, teasing, "Oh, my dear Miss Steele, get into my bed," he growls. "And I'll show you." "Do you think that for once I should play hard to get?" I ask coquettishly, his eyes wide with surprise, and I see a glimmer of excitement. "Well, the door's closed. Not sure how you're going to avoid me," he says sardonically. "I think it's a done deal. Just open the door." So let's just open the door. "But I'm a good negotiator." "So am I. Don't you want to fuck?" "No," I breathe. "Oh." Oh. "Okay, here goes. Deep breath. I want you to make love to me." And he says he stills and stares at me blankly. His expression darkens. "Oh shit, this doesn't look good. Give him a minute." My subconscious snaps. "Give him a minute. Wait. 1 minute, please." It's so dumb. And she's like, "I want to touch you." And he's like, "No." Why can't they make love, first of all? Like, make love. Like, why can't it be more passionate, you know? I don't understand, because he's like, he's fine with vanilla, but he's not okay with like making love. Like, I get the whole touching thing. It's just a boundary in my opinion, okay? The way I see it is, I think it's kind of dumb that we make it so overemphasized, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have a character who doesn't want to be touched. And I don't like personally how Anna is so pushy about touching him when he's so clearly not wanting to be touched. But I like, you know, it's just kind of a boundary that he's setting that she's not respecting. So, I don't know, but why can't you like make love? Why can't you like be gentle with her? It's frustrating. It's like she finally communicates something to you, and she's clearly nervous because she has to like take a deep breath, and she says it, and you're just like, "No, I don't do that." Like, girl, this is just one of many reasons why she doesn't trust you and your relationship is unhealthy, because she can't communicate things to you unless you want to hear them, you know? But he's like, "Oh, if you want to do that, I guess we just shouldn't do anything at all." Which is kind of crazy, that instead of me like, "Okay, I'll try to like be more passionate, be more gentle or whatever," he's like, "Well, guess we're just gonna go to bed." She uses his toothbrush, so cute. They're in bed, and she's like, "Please tell me your dark and mysterious past, because I want to know you better." "You know me well enough." "How can you say that?" He rolls his eyes at me, frustrated. "You're rolling your eyes. Last time I did that, I ended up over your knee. I would like to put you there again. Tell me, and you can." "What?" "You heard me. You're bargaining with me?" I nod. "Yes, this is the way." The way. Negotiating. It doesn't work that way, Anastasia. "Okay, tell me, and I'll roll my eyes at you." And he like laughs at that, which is dumb, but okay. "So funny, Anna. You're so funny, Anna." They talk a little bit about it, but then he basically agrees. He's like, "You know what? Fine, I'll do it. But if you don't have the energy to ask me, that's your bad, you know?" Okay. So, I hate this though. He's like, "I'll share something with you. Not everything, but I'll share something with you after I punish you, spank you, you know?" Yeah. So this time it's not a punishment, and it's supposed to be more for her pleasure. So she has a different experience with it. She likes it this time. But he pulls out these like two balls that are strung together, right? And he has her put them in her mouth to lubricate them, and then put them up there. Then he has her like hold him in, go get him water, and then come back and get into position, you know, the over the knee position. And sure, okay, I'm fine with this. I don't care. It's like, it, you know, not doing anything for me, but whatever. I just don't like that Anna is learning that she can use this punishment thing and be like, "Oh, if you punish me, I can get something from you." She's learning this, and she does this later in the book. Not to like spoil too much, but it doesn't work out later. It's because that's a horrible thing to do. Like, if you have to bargain to hear things from your partner, it's probably a sign that something is not working. It's probably a sign that your partner is just not emotionally available, which she already knows that, and maybe you should, if you want someone who is emotionally available, you should find that instead. There's lots of fish in the sea, okay? I don't like that she's bargaining though. I don't think you should ever use sex to bargain. I just think it's a setup for a toxic relationship. I've never once seen a, like, using you can use my body and I'll get something that I want deal that has like worked, because I've read a lot of things like that. Not books necessarily, mostly comics, to be so honest with you. You learn more about me every video. But I've read a lot of things like that, and it never works. If you are making a deal with sex, it's always toxic, I fear. Anyways, moving on. She's enjoying the whole thing though, because again, he's not doing this to punish her. He's doing this to make her feel good. So it's like more playful, it's lighter, it's not supposed to hurt. So she's enjoying it, and good for her. Good for her. Oh, he just called her a good girl. Oh, okay, that happens a lot in this book. I don't even think I've mentioned it yet, but maybe I have, I don't know. So he does like hold up his end of the deal because she made it through. Oh god, he said your ass is a glorious color. So he says, the woman who brought me into this world was a crack whore, Anastasia. Go to sleep. And she's like, holy fuck, what does that mean? What do you think it means? Like, do you have the ability to think? And she's like, was? She's dead. How long? He sighs. She died when I was 4. I don't really remember her. And his adoptive dad, Carrick, that's a weird name, has given me some details. I only remember certain things. Please go to sleep. And then she's like, good night, Christian. Good night, Anna. And then like, yeah, she sleeps. So we're getting a little bit more details on his trauma. In the first book, we don't get a lot of details. I'm just going to say that we'll get to it in a later chapter when it's talked about in a little bit more detail. We don't know by the end of book 1 what exactly he's been through, but we do know how he coped with it. And that is what I have an issue with. We'll get there. Hi, I'm back for more filming. I keep having to do this in like multiple parts, multiple sessions, because I just take too long. So, hi. I'm gonna start from chapter 21 and we'll just get back into it, because for you, it hasn't been any time. For me, it's been like 3 or 4 days. So for chapter 21, she wakes up the next morning, and it was at this point when I was going through and like making notes, I realized how many next mornings there are in this book and how repetitive it feels. They have a day together, she spends the night, and then it's like the next morning. So it's like literally, I swear to God, it's like every other chapter is like the next morning. Like, okay, we get it, cool. It's not good writing. Find a better transition. I don't know. Have more things in a day. Have a week go by. I don't know. So it says, I clamber out of bed, feeling stiff and, for want of better expression, well used. Yes, that would be from all the sex then. My subconscious purses her lips in disapproval. I roll my eyes at her, grateful that a certain twitchy-palmed control freak is not in the room, and I resolve to ask him about the personal trainer. That's if I sign. My inner goddess glares at me in desperation. Of course you'll sign. Like the contract. I ignore them both, and after a quick trip to the bathroom, I go in search of Christian. So then she goes out and she finds his blonde maid. Why are all the women in this story blonde besides Anna? I just don't, okay. On top of all of that though, Anna is so insecure or something that she literally thinks, and a nasty thought comes involuntarily into my mind, are they all ex-subs? I refuse to entertain that hideous idea. Every woman must obviously be into Christian, right? Isn't that how it goes? As a blonde myself, I want nothing to do with him. Certified blonde over here. Get that man away from me. Stop thinking that every blonde woman wants your man.
Blonde hair is so beautiful.
He's doing work for like, I swear to God, like the first time in this goddamn book. But all he's doing is calling someone, which I guess we've seen him call people before, but it's like all he does is make phone calls. He's a CEO. Is he not busy? Okay, what is he doing? He's slacking off all the time. By the way, though, she like walks in and he's like, cancel my schedule. Okay, so now you're already not doing work, and now you're gonna not do even more work. But per usual, when she walks into the room, they immediately get turned on. And so he's like, what does he do? He's all like, I'm gonna fuck you on this desk. He growls, and suddenly, with one fluid movement, he clears all the plans and papers off his desk so they scatter on the floor. How to not be a CEO 101. Why are you doing that? Okay, you're gonna lose stuff, you're gonna damage stuff. Don't do that. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're bad at your job. You're dumb. Ugh, you're so ready, he whispers. Get away from me. They do it. They, no hesitation, they do it though. And then after, it's like, do you want tea, girl? Okay. But she's like, I'll have a shower first, thank you, I mutter and take my blazing face away. My blazing face quickly out of the room. Her face, which is once again the color of the Communist Manifesto. And it says, in the shower, I try to figure out oh my God, I can't read today. I try to figure out what's up with Christian. He is the most complicated person I know, and I cannot understand his ever-changing moods. You don't know a lot of people, do you? So then they're eating breakfast together, and he's like, you can take my private jet to see your mom. She says no, but she's like, boys and their toys. Please don't say that again. And then they're like, I'm gonna miss you so much. No, like, I'll miss you. Like, they're doing that whole thing, and it's like, wow, finally they're being nice to each other after the last chapters, which is bullshit actually. But wow, it's like aftercare for your brain, except I hate everything here, and I don't feel taken care of. It's just the fact that we do all of this like abusive stuff, and we see Anna literally being abused, going through abuse, and then it's like, oh, but look, they care for each other, and like they like each other a lot. It doesn't excuse anything. Like, abusive relationships can feel good at times, because that's why you stay. You stay for the things that make you feel good. You stay for the dependence that you build on that relationship. And it's these like up and down sort of patterns that it fits even more into an abusive relationship, where you go through a period of abuse and then it's like fine, and it's even like really romantic and sweet and kind, and then it goes back to abuse later. And it's just it doesn't excuse the fact. Him saying that he's gonna miss her while she's in Georgia and her agreeing does not excuse the fact that he was abusive towards her and he hurt her, and he not just did these things that hurt her, but the fact that she felt like it was abuse, because of course the context of this means that we're trying to say it's not abuse, it's just kink play. But unfortunately, I just am going to stand by that fact, that if you feel abused, not just like as in a role play aspect, but if you literally felt like, did I just get abused? You might have just gotten abused. And maybe instead of trying to play that off as, oh, it's totally fine, it's normal kind of emotions to have, we should actually be demonizing that, because that is a problem. If you feel abused in a relationship, we should not be trying to be like, oh, that's normal BDSM stuff. No, it's not. She books her flight, she's planned it all out, and she's thinking about Christian again. And it says, I roll my eyes at the memory of his overbearing bossiness, but I realize now that's just the way he is. He likes control over everything, including me, yet he's so unpredictably and disarmingly agreeable too. He can be tender, good-humored, even sweet, and when he is, it's so left field and unexpected. This is what I'm talking about. Just because sometimes it doesn't feel abusive doesn't mean there isn't abuse going on. Just because sometimes he can be sweet does not excuse the fact that sometimes he's not. Like, you're admitting he's overly controlling. He is a fucking walking red flag, and just because every once in a while he's like, I'm so nice now, doesn't redeem him, doesn't make him better, doesn't make him less abusive. Please don't just accept that and be like, that's just the way he is. No. Trauma does not make you like that. I mean, it might influence your behaviors, but he has been going to therapy. He is an adult man, and he's still behaving like this. This is, at his point, his problem. It's not your responsibility to fix him. It's not your responsibility to stay through this relationship because you see the good in him. He is 27, 28. He's a grown-ass man, and he's still sat there going to therapy, doing all this stuff and thinking that it's okay. But don't worry, because he will change, because that's what romance does, apparently. That's what being accepted for being abusive does, I guess. To be honest, to be serious, again, you are not responsible for what someone else has been through. If they have treated you wrong, it is not your responsibility or your obligation to forgive them for what they've done to you just because they've been through their own traumatic experiences. And this is just something that we see Anna go through, and it's so frustrating that she's feeling abused, she is being abused, and then she thinks, oh, but I understand him now because he's been so traumatized that it's okay, it's just the way he is. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. It doesn't excuse anything that he's done to you. If you feel abused, you said you feel abused. You have been worried that he is going to hurt you, to beat you. Your words, not mine. And you're going to sit there and just say it's okay, and you've just accepted it and you've grown used to it. That's not a sign that things are getting better. That's just a sign that you're becoming complacent in a relationship that's still not healthy for you. It's so depressing and frustrating and just all of the above to witness this happen and to pass this off as being okay, or as being romantic, or as being sexy, when it's not. It's abuse. And I'll say that as many times as I have to. We're gonna move on though. So she's doing an interview with one of the publishing houses that she applied to, and remember, she wants to like go into publishing, and I think she wants to be an editor or something, and so she's at this interview and they ask her, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and just a bunch of other like standard questions. But when they ask her that, her immediate thought is with Christian Grey. How can you write a character so wholly centered around a man? I know this is a romance. I know we're focusing on the romance, and I want to excuse some of the focus that we keep on Christian because of that, because ultimately the point is just to have these two people get together, especially because it is an erotica. But like, to not even try, to not even give her an ambition besides being with a man it's insane to me. After the interview, she comes back to it's an apartment now, it's not, yeah. She comes back to the apartment. She's still living with Kate, and she's talking to her about Christian. She's like, stop winding him up, like, please stop doing that. And she's like, Kate says, look, if he wasn't Elliot's brother, I'd have said a lot worse. He's a real control freak. I don't know how you stand it. I was trying to make him jealous, give him a little help with his commitment issues, but if you don't want me to interfere, I won't. If you understand that he's a control freak and that he is weirdo and this stuff is wrong, don't rile him up more. Why do you think that's going to help anything? That's only going to make things worse. I literally can't stress this enough. If your friend seems to be in a situation where maybe it's not healthy and maybe there's some stuff going on, don't make their partner mad, because you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know how they're going to take their anger out. If it's on your friend, like, you're at least partially responsible. Again, I think I said this before. I don't want to say that Kate is the only one at fault here, because it's Christian who is just the abusive one, but to trigger that because you're purposely trying to get them jealous is insane, and it's so unsafe. I just, like, cannot believe Kate did that. So Kate and Anna have a super heartwarming conversations. I'm in tears. I love them so much. It's whatever. It's pretty normal. This is kind of like a transition chapter where a lot of stuff that we don't care about is happening because, you know, Anna getting a job doesn't matter. Anna talking to her friend doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is Christian. So anyways, but she ends up emailing him and she's like, about your housekeepers, like, you're one of your old subs. And he's like, no. Yeah, Anna. Who would do that? I don't know. I can't say that he wouldn't do that because he's a freak. Flash forward and Anna's going to Georgia. So yeah, we're already at the end of this chapter. We're literally already going to Georgia. Are you excited? I'm excited. At the airport, Anna finds out that Christian actually upgraded her behind her back to first class because... Why? Because he's a freak. I just love how she's constantly saying, don't spend that much money on me, and he's constantly overstepping boundaries. It's so cute. It's so couple goals. The beginning of this chapter is so boring, and it's like a breath of fresh air because I'd rather it be boring than having to constantly deal with abuse. She's like doing all of her trips. We get a bunch of dumb emails. She tries to make him jealous. She sends an email about wanting to run screaming into the hills, but she's like, I'd miss you though. Sometimes you just got to do the hard thing, bite the bullet, you know? This is where she says, and I think I mentioned this before, I don't remember if I did, but this is where she says, I need space from you. I need to think about our relationship, and this is the best way for that, to get physical distance. She kind of talks about how she's scared of getting physically and emotionally hurt in this relationship. So she sends all of this in an email before leaving from the airport. So after this, though, she ends up, you know, connecting with her mom, and they're talking about him. Of course, her mom says, men aren't really complicated, Anna, honey. They're very simple, literal creatures. They usually mean what they say. And we spend hours trying to analyze what they've said, when really it's obvious. If I were you, I'd take him literally. That might help. Horrible advice. I'm sorry, but I hate when people do this. I hate when people give you advice on relationships or on men or on women or on anyone at all and just to say, listen, let's just categorize and generalize everyone into this gender and then say that their actions are therefore going to specifically meet these standards or whatever. Like, yeah, maybe some men are literal. Not all men are literal. And I think a lot of the things that Christian's done has been so manipulative. Like, girl, the fuck? You don't know anything about him. To just say that and to just assume, like, oh, well, he's a man, so he's probably like every other man ever. Like, that's not good advice. And I mean, the author probably said it because she's trying to be all like philosophical or all like, yeah, it's so relatable, guys. All men are like this. And Christian is too. It's like, if you think Christian is literal, you don't know how to write a character. I didn't take my whole medulla oblongata to figure that one out. After this conversation with her mom, though, Christian, you know, he sends his email response back to Anna about her whole thing of like needing space and stuff, and it's literally like almost 2 pages long, so I'm just gonna try and break this down for you. I don't want to read it all. Basically, he says, I want to spend money on you and I'm sorry that you feel like a whore, but I can't fix that. Because she did communicate, hey, I don't like when you spend money on me, because he did just spend a shit ton of money on her. First the BlackBerry, I mean the car obviously was huge, the BlackBerry, and then upgrading her to first class, like all this stuff that she did not ask for, did not want, and is uncomfortable with. He's like, sorry, can't fix it. The solution is so simple. Literally stop spending your money on her unless you have permission from her. That's a boundary that you're not respecting. And then he says in his email, oh, it's over 2 pages long. It's 2.5 pages long. He says in his email, what you fail to realize is that in dom-sub relationships, it is the sub who has all the power. That's you. I'll repeat this. You are the one with all the power. Why would she know that? Why would she have realized this? Why? She's never done this before. She was 21 and a virgin, and you knew that when you decided to engage in this relationship at a certain point. At least you found that out, and you're like, well, fuck it, guess we're committed. You found that out, and you didn't tell her that. You never once told her that until this far into the book, okay? We're on page 400, and this is the first time you're gonna say, by the way, this thing that's like kind of complex and hard to understand for a lot of people who are first getting into it, you should probably know that you're actually the one who has power, even though the whole thing is that I have control over you, but it's like you're the one who actually has power. That's super, super important in this kind of relationship, and you're just gonna withhold that information until she's like, oh, but I don't feel like I have any power here. And he was like, but you're the one who has all the power, silly. Didn't you know that? Why would she know that? Why would she know that? And to tell her over email too is insane. I just like, you should have talked about this in person so many like weeks ago. I don't even know how long has passed, to be honest, but weeks ago. You should have told her about this when you first proposed the contract and we're talking about the dynamics. This should have been in the contract even. It's so important. And it's not something that I think is shown in this book. I think it's really obvious that she does not feel any power in this relationship. Even after she is reacting to his email, she's like, oh my God, I have the power. She didn't even know. Like, why would she know? Again, it's so frustrating that he withheld that information from her. It is so important to this kind of relationship. I'm like, how? Oh my God. We're gonna move on though. He also says, I knew you were inexperienced though. I would have never pursued you if I had known exactly how innocent you were. And I don't believe that for a goddamn second. Because she told you that she was a virgin and you're like, well, we'll just fix it. And then like that was your time to pull out from the whole thing and to be like, you know what? I'm a little uncomfortable now. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were this inexperienced. Bye. That was your moment. That was your time to do that. And you went, no. There's no other way to say that I'm more inexperienced than I haven't done anything at all. Once you find out that, oh, she's a virgin, and during the moment when he found out, he even said, you can leave if you're uncomfortable. Like, I want you to tell me if you're uncomfortable. I will literally fly you back. So why did you not just say, I'm uncomfortable? Because you like it, because you like the inexperience. And you enjoy that power even more. So you're just saying that. You're just saying that and you don't mean it. And I hate that he says that and he pretends that he would have done better if he knew, because he did know and he still went forward with that. It is never at a point where it's too late to back out. You can always back out if you're uncomfortable. And we just don't show that. We don't show that. We show a man who likes the control and who says he cares but does not actually care. This is what I mean when her mom is like, oh, men are so literal. He's not. He's manipulative. That's what he is. He says a bunch of other things in the email about like admiring her and just kind of ends it with saying, I understand everything that you're saying now, and I will give you the space that you need, and I think that it's fair that you need that space. And after this email, she's like, We've been apart for less than 24 hours, and I know that I can't see him for 4 days. I realize how much I miss him, how much I love him. Okay. Then they kind of email back and forth a little bit. She's like, I wish you could have like unzipped my dress or whatever. I don't know. They're like going back and forth, like being horny again. Of course, they don't need to be near each other to be horny. You thought they did? No. She's flying to see her mom, and we're still just emailing back and forth. I wish I could show you, like, this is one email here. Emails, more emails. This is like 6 pages so far, fully. 7 pages. 7 pages of emailing back and forth in one chapter. Like, she just got to Georgia to see her mom, and all we're doing is emailing Christian. It's like there's nothing else happening in this fucking book, and we lost the plot forever ago. We lost the plot when the interview ended. He ends the email, the whole 7 pages of emails, and he's like, I have to go now, I'm having a dinner with an old friend. And Anna is like, I bet it's Mrs. Robinson. And she thinks, I want to hit something, preferably Mrs. Robinson. Okay, I mean, I wish she wanted to hit her because she was a predator and not because she was a woman in Christian's presence. Anna responds to his email and she's like, I hope you and your friend had a very pleasant dinner. P.S. Was it Mrs. Robinson? And he emails, yes, I had a dinner with Mrs. Robinson. She's just an old friend, Anastasia. Looking forward to see you again. I miss you. And she says, she's not just an old friend. Has she found another adolescent boy to sink her teeth into? Did you get too old for her? Is that the reason your relationship finished? Even though I agree that Miss Robinson is a horrible person because of what she's done, that's like a crazy thing to say. Not just because she doesn't like Miss Robinson, again, but just because she's jealous of her. That's why she's freaking out. It's not like, why are you hanging out with a pedophile? I'm seriously concerned for your safety, or I'm concerned for your mental health. Like, I don't think it's healthy to keep engaging with this woman who groomed you when you were 15. Instead of being like that, she's like, oh, are you too old for her now or something? That's how to not handle the situation, actually. Ooh. She's at the bar emailing him, by the way, with her mom, by the way. And then the chapter ends and Christian sends her an email that he doesn't want to discuss this over email. And then he says, how many Cosmopolitans are you going to drink? And then Anna's just like, holy fuck, he's here. Christian goes over. He's in the bar and introduces himself to her mom. So just to summarize what this means for anyone who might be confused or not really paying that much attention. So Christian flew from Seattle to Georgia to see Anna after she sent him an email that said, please give me space, I need to think about our relationship. And he said, okay, that's fair, I'll give you the space that you need. Because she at one point said that she missed him. I'm sitting here like, what are you doing here? And she's also asking him, what are you doing here? And he responds, I came to see you, of course. So he like, no other reason. He wasn't visiting Mrs. Robinson. She doesn't live in Georgia. It wasn't just like a crazy coincidence. He literally had dinner with her and then flew down to Georgia to see Anna. Because of a passing comment, really, that was just, I miss you. What the fuck? He says, well, yesterday you said you wished I was here. That doesn't mean that you can just fly down to see her just because you have the money to afford it. Does not mean you should, because she asked for space and you said you would respect that and you didn't. He's just overcrowding her. Like, she can't think like this. Maybe it's another manipulation tactic. And now, whether it was intentional or not, he can kind of blame this on her. It's not like he went down and was like, oh, I just really missed you, and that's obviously feels shittier. It's now he can turn to her and be like, but you missed me. You wanted me to be here. Which is just, again, maybe he didn't do it on purpose. Maybe he literally was just like, I have to go see her because she said something. But it doesn't matter because that's so freaking weird. And we've already talked about him being a stalker in this book. He fucking is a stalker. After he appears, he like I said, he introduces himself to her mom. But then her mom is like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom because she can tell that they need to talk. So Christian says, so you're mad at me for having dinner with an old friend? And she's thinking, geez, he wants to do this now? Yes. Our sexual relationship was over long ago, Anastasia. I don't want anyone but you. Haven't you worked it out yet? I blink at him. I think of her as a child molester, Christian. Because she is. That's very judgmental. It wasn't like that. And she thinks judgmental. Oh, how was it then? He frowns at her and she's like, she took advantage of a vulnerable 15-year-old boy. If you had been 15-year-old girl and Mrs. Robinson a Mr. Robinson tempting you into a BDSM lifestyle, would that have been okay? If it was Mia, say, which Mia is his sister, by the way. And he gasps and scowls. Anna, it wasn't like that. Okay, it didn't feel like that to me. She was a force for good, what I needed. And she thinks, I don't understand. And he's like, well, your mom's gonna be back, so I'm gonna go. And she's like, don't go, like, please, I'm happy you're here. And, you know, I'm just jealous or whatever. This whole thing with Mrs. Robinson, I'm gonna talk about in a second here. It's gonna be a conversation. I'm gonna save it. But just what they're kind of hinting at here is that she was a positive force because of his trauma, and she helped him get through some of his hardest times in life, I guess, through offering him BDSM as a safe way to express himself, I guess. I don't really know. I think that's the best way I can say it. I will talk about this later, but I'm just gonna say one thing for now, and that is that it is never okay. It is never okay for an adult to engage with a minor in sexual activities. Never. Again, we'll talk about it more. Never. So Anna's mom comes back, Christian leaves, and literally like 2 seconds later, her mom's like, go to him. So she does. So she goes to his hotel room and I forgot to clarify. It doesn't really make it better, but I was gonna mention he didn't mean to stay at the same hotel as her, I think. I think that was literally just a coincidence, but he did mean to go to Georgia to see her, so it doesn't really matter anyways because it's still freaky, okay? But anyways, she shows up at his hotel room and they were drinking at the hotel bar, by the way. I guess I didn't say any of this. They were drinking at the hotel bar and then he shows up at the hotel bar and sees her and is like, oh, that's a coincidence. To catch you up on the context, it doesn't matter. But she, once again, goes to his hotel room and he kind of is like, well, you're here to see me already. And he says something about how he likes that she's mad at him. Okay. They start getting a little freaky again, things get a little heated. And she's thinking, we're supposed to be talking, but my heart is pounding, my blood singing as it courses through my body, desire pooling, unfurling everywhere. Christian bends and runs his nose along my shoulder and up to the base of my ear, his fingers slipping into my hair. We should talk, I whisper. Later. There's so much I want to say. Me too. And then he like kisses her ear lobe, whatever. And then they start like getting freaky again. You should really stop being horny. Can you not contain yourself for 5 fucking minutes to have a conversation that needs to be had, okay? Yeah, so they go all the way per usual, and she's on her period, which that's fine. I don't care about that. Just thought I'd mention that. He does say, are you bleeding? That's kind of gross though. No rainbow kisses though. Christian's too straight for that. It's like this book gives me emotional whiplash because one second they're talking about the woman that molested Christian continuously when he was 15 until he was 21, and now they're having sex. And then they're going to talk about it again after this. God damn. I heart my Discord groomer. Ends up sharing more about Mrs. Robinson and their whole relationship, and he says, I probably would have gone the way of my birth mother had it not been for Mrs. Robinson, which again, she was a crack whore. Yes, Christian would have been a crack whore. And Anna even thinks, oh, I believe him crack addict or whore, possibly both. But she's thinking, what the hell does that mean? What do you think it means? And he says, she distracted me from the destructive path I found myself following. It's very hard to grow up in a perfect family when you're not perfect. They talk a little bit, and she's like trying to understand, basically. I wanted to kind of do this at the end of the chapter so that I could finish the chapter up, but I think we just need to talk about it now. Let's try and talk about this in a calm way. So Christian's been through a lot before. He has a lot of trauma that has been sort of teased but not really completely shared with us, and we are starting to get more of it as he becomes closer to Anna and she keeps asking him about it. And so just to kind of summarize for people that have forgotten, I think most of this has been mentioned in part 2. I don't really think there was much mention in part 1 besides her wanting to know what was happening with his backstory and him liking BDSM and stuff. But basically, to summarize everything, the very limited information that we currently know is that Christian's birth mom was a crack whore, his words not mine, and she was probably quite abusive because of that, and he definitely had experienced physical abuse. He has scars on his, I think, chest, which is implied to be scars from having cigarettes put out on his skin. He doesn't like to be touched, very obviously from the trauma. And after he got adopted into this very perfect family, which I think happened when he was only 4, so that's when his mom died. So his mom died and then he immediately got adopted, so he didn't even really stay in the foster system that long, just putting that out there. And yeah, after he was adopted, he felt very outcasted because he's not perfect. He felt like it was the best thing possible for him at this time to have been kind of taken in by a fully grown adult woman, probably around the same age as his mom, for her to teach him at 15 years old to be a submissive, for her. And that was so that he could cope with self-destructive or just destructive behavior in general. And now he goes to therapy and is a dominant in order to cope probably with that same self-destructive tendencies that he has. Oh boy. Okay, so there's a lot here that I kind of want to touch on, and I'm probably going to forget things too that I want to touch on, but I kind of want to start by trying to answer the question of, like, is this trauma romanticized? Because I think a lot of dark romance does romanticize trauma, and so I just kind of want to try and explain why I think this is maybe not necessarily romanticization, but just why it's not good representation of trauma, which I've kind of been talking about this, I swear, since the beginning. We did not do his trauma correctly, and I want to talk about why here right now. To answer the question of, is it romanticized? It's not as bad as some dark romances. I think that's pretty obvious if you read it and if you've heard, if not read, other things. Of course, the first thing that comes to mind is Haunting Adeline. In that, the trauma is very clearly romanticized because she's actively experiencing something that's very traumatizing and playing it off as not only romantic, but as sexually stimulating and enjoyable. In this, it's not quite the same, but his trauma is not, again, talked about in a nuanced way, or not a nuanced enough way. It's not talked about in a fair, representative way at all. The thing is that dark romances like these don't talk about trauma because they care about talking about trauma. To clarify, they don't care about having a conversation about what trauma does to a person. They don't care about outlining what it's like to live with trauma, to live with dealing with the aftermath of trauma, of being a survivor of trauma. They only use it to have characters that fit a certain like archetype. They do it to make their characters more mysterious and more cool, more interesting. They just want tragic characters to fit this mold of a dark romance so that they're more dark and alluring. I think that automatically makes this a form of romanticizing trauma. Even if it's not as bad as Haunting Adeline, it's still happening actively in a different way. If you think about it from a slightly different angle, what is the trauma doing for the story? How are we incorporating the trauma into the story? It's the reason he's into BDSM. It makes him sympathetic to Anna. It makes him mysterious. We hear so little about what his actual trauma is in this first book that we can't really start to make the connection of why this trauma is helped by being a dominant. We can't really try and work through that mindset and think, why does he, why does he prefer this kind of way of coping over other ways of coping? What is it about this that is healthy for him? We can't put ourselves in that situation and think, oh, I can see why that is helpful. Because they're like I talked about this a little bit in the first part, but trauma and like specifically PTSD and BDSM are kind of correlated a little bit. Like it's not uncommon for people who do BDSM to have PTSD or to have trauma, because it can help you, it's kind of like a fun, safe way to sometimes play out traumatic experiences in a safe environment. It can help people really try and like process some things that they've been through, and it's very interesting. I did a little bit of research on it, not too much, so I'm just kind of giving you my basic understanding. Again, feel free to comment anything of your own experiences, of other people's experiences, but trauma and BDSM can be interconnected, and that is a really interesting topic, and we could totally talk about that in a way that's worthwhile, in a way that's facing the reality of trauma and also kind of combining it with BDSM to make a story about how the two interact and why they interact and why that's totally an okay thing to enjoy. There's a lot of interesting material with that. We could totally make a book about it, and it's like it wants to do that in this, but it doesn't know how, and it doesn't actually care enough about that connection to talk about it. So instead of getting nuanced trauma that we really understand and really allows us to get Christian's character and want to support Christian's character, we don't understand anything, and we're just kind of like, why is he so abusive? And then we get to this point where he's like sharing more and more, and it's just, he's already been such a problem through this book that it doesn't even matter anymore. If you want to talk about how BDSM can be a healthy coping mechanism for trauma, you have to actually make it healthy, and it's not healthy here. So everything's kind of void anyways, but instead of getting a logical and understandable and just raw reason for why he's into BDSM, we just get poor excuses and a traumatized man who is abusive because he was abused, kind of essentially is what is happening, right? In order to be like a good functional dark romance, you have to care about what you're writing about, and you have to care about the darker themes that you're exploring. And I don't think the author cares about it. I think she's just horny and wants to write about BDSM, and that's okay, but maybe we shouldn't be trying to drag trauma and being a survivor into it if we don't know what we're talking about. If we didn't overemphasize his trauma or make him traumatized at all, we can write about a man who just happens to like BDSM and a woman who wants to explore her sexuality and gets into that lifestyle, and just not make it about trauma and just make it about enjoying having some relations together, and it just doesn't have to be a big deal. You don't have to make your character traumatized for him to be interesting. To move on to a slightly different thing, we try and make it sound like it's okay that he engaged with a fully grown woman when he was 15 in a sexual manner. That's not his fault, it's her fault, but we try and make that sound like it was okay, like it was even necessary for him to experience that so he could cope with his trauma, which is the worst way to talk about this. Like, actually the worst way to talk about trauma, to talk about dealing with destructive behaviors, to talk about literally anything that we're trying to talk about in this book, to just be like, oh well, look, he got better and he figured out this thing because a grown woman helped him when he was 15 and made him a submissive and did things to him sexually. No. No. This is so disgusting. To try and make it sound like it's okay. It's so disgusting. That can be a part of a character's trauma, and we can talk about it again in a nuanced way where we say pedophilia is bad, but instead we say it was okay because he's traumatized and it helped him deal with his trauma. No. That's not going to help you with your trauma. That's going to create more trauma. Never, ever is a adult engaging with a minor sexually going to help you with your trauma. It is only going to create more. It is only going to create more. If you are a fully consenting adult and you try this and you enjoy it and you find that it helps you work through your trauma, that is super great and awesome. If you are not, you should not be doing this, especially with an adult. His trauma is bad. It's not handled well. It's just not. You know, we don't flesh it out. We don't try and talk about why it even matters in this story. It's just there because we want him to be dark and mysterious. But the thing that is so disgusting about this entire situation is literally just the fact they try and make it okay that an adult made him a victim and that was supposed to be helpful. I will never be okay with that. And I don't understand what the author was thinking about writing it like this. And I obviously haven't finished the series. Maybe by the end of the second or third book, we'll have a moment where it's like, maybe he comes to the realization that she was a bad person. Anna understands that she's a bad person, at least for that. I mean, she's obviously jealous of her, which is weird, but she understands that she did something wrong and she's not in support of that action. But it's like he's trying so hard to make her understand that this was good. If we actually end this book on the note that she's a good person and that what she did was okay, I am gonna fucking lose it. But we need to move on because I will literally be here forever trying to just explain to you why I hate this so much. But the last thing that I just want to say is that, and I kind of said this before, is that you are not responsible to heal your partner's trauma. Nothing that they have been through in their past excuses their abusive behavior. It may explain it, it may cause it, for lack of a better word, but it does not excuse it. And it is not your obligation to forgive that person for what they have done to you. I wish Anna recognized this. I wish she walked away and she said, he really was abusive to me and I regret getting involved with him and he just, but we don't do that. We just try and fix him and fix him and fix him until eventually he's fixed enough, which will, I'm sure, be the end of book 3. So I'm just not at that point yet. So no matter what Christian has been through, it does not excuse what he is doing to Anna. Just because he has experienced a lot of stuff, again, it just will never excuse the emotional and physical torment that he is putting Anna through. So yeah, maybe it's not romanticized like Haunting Adeline is, but it's not talked about in a responsible way. It's not nuanced enough. This is a horrible way to write a dark romance. Like, this is a horrible way to specifically write a character who was abused. I am so uncomfortable. Serious trauma, but trauma in general, whether in your childhood or as an adult, is not something that you should just throw in to spice up a story. It is something that if you are going to include in your story, you need to understand and you need to write in a realistic and hopefully sympathetic way. So we can create morally gray characters with 50 shades of fucked up shit, but we need to understand why we are trying to write a morally gray character and what we're trying to say about trauma. And we don't know that because it got lost. Just like the plot, everything's been lost. The only thing we're trying to do is have them have a lot of sex, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of erotica trying to pass off as being like deep or interesting because they have a character who was put through something traumatic. You're not creating a hot take when you say that it's okay that he got molested at 15 and continuously until he was 21. You are just excusing a pedophile's action and writing a traumatized and abused character in a horrible, horrible way. We can write a character who was abused and then abuses another person. That's valid. The cycle of abuse is real. But to write a character like this and to have his abuse victim, Anna, stick around and to eventually fix him is so irresponsible, and that is not the kind of the kind of story that I want to read. It's not the romance I want to read. It is not anything that I would normally touch. I did not know this book was going to be like it when I picked it up. I thought it was just going to be silly, haha, funny. Please research, please write characters better, please care about what you are writing. For any authors out there, if there's one thing that I can say, please care about what you are writing and about the real life consequences of what you are writing. If someone reads this and decides to put up with an abusive relationship because this or any book like it, I know that a lot of people don't take this book seriously because it's been memed so hard and it's, but if someone read a book like this or this book and feels like that's sexy and then decides to put up with an abusive situation because of that, just imagine like the harm that would do. Like, you're responsible for what you write. Please write responsibly. Please care about not just your characters, but your readers. Thanks. I'm totally down to read about traumatized characters. I love morally gray characters. I love a good morally gray character. This is just not the way to do it. Anyways, I will literally be here forever. If I keep doing this. Tangent is over. This is why his trauma is bad. After their whole conversation about Mrs. Robinson, Anna's pushing to hear more about his trauma, and he kind of snaps and he gets kind of angry, and she's like, please don't be angry with me. And this is the second time she's basically said the same thing, like, please don't be mad at me, please don't be angry with me. She sounds like a kid getting scolded. This is not doing anything good. Christian reassures Anna that Mrs. Robinson is just a friend and a business partner because they do business together. And they talk a little bit. He makes a joke to Anna about how bad of a submissive she is because she's not very submissive. It's so funny. He mentions something to Anna about how BDSM helps him take control, which is something he did not feel when he was between the ages of 1 to 4, when he was kind of experiencing all these very traumatic things. And again, we're being told that his trauma is the reason he likes BDSM. And it helps him cope in a healthy way, but he's just abusive. He's just been so emotionally abusive to her and physically at times, like with passing it off as BDSM. I just don't trust this, and it's okay to use BDSM to cope with trauma if you're doing it in a good way. If it really helps you to process those feelings and stuff, that's important. That's good. I'm glad it works for you. I wish it worked for Christian. I wish we wrote it in a way that felt valid, but we don't. We can give him trauma and show that he's been through abuse and make him a good dominant, and then all of this feels better. We don't even have to get into a lot of complex stuff about the intersection between BDSM and trauma. We could just say, I was really traumatized when I was a kid, and now I take control by doing this kind of whole sub-dom thing. And we can kind of just leave it at that, and then we're being honest and that's real. And if he's actually being represented in a good way, he's actually a good dominant, then that's good. And like, it's the fact that he's abusive on top of everything else. Like, it just does not, it's not a good combination. It's not working. It's not eating the way you are trying to eat. You're not cooking, you burnt the food. To make him abusive while they're doing something that's supposed to be safe and intimate and is based in trust of the other party, and then to excuse that abuse by just saying that he was abused, it's a mess. It's so messy and it's upsetting. But the chapter ends and they actually have sex one more time, and then they just kind of talk about random things. It lightens up after that, and he's like, I have a surprise for you tomorrow. This is such an exhausting book. Starting with the next morning, they wake up and he's like, you have to get up early, I have a surprise for you. They wake up early. He's like, you gotta eat, baby girl, whatever. Are you lost, baby girl? She's like, no, I don't want it, I'm tired. And they leave. They're in the car. How did he get a car? Did he rent a car? They're in the car and Christian hands Anna the iPod. The iPod, it's so dated, but it's okay. The iPod, his iPod, and he's like, play some music, play whatever you want. And so she's like scrolling through his playlist or like his downloaded songs, and he and she starts playing a lovely little tune. You want to guess what it is? Toxic by Britney Spears. I almost lost it at this point. After everything I've been through. They're talking and she's like, what happened to your other submissives, by the way? And he's like, one found another person to like be steady with, I guess, and the other three, he said he had like 15 subs or something. What happened to the other 11 subs? But he's only talking about 4. I don't know. And then 3 of them wanted more, and so they ended up ending the relationship because he didn't want more. And he's like, but you want more, and I'm willing to give you that because you're so special. Literally, why is she so special to you? That's something I can't understand. She's just a 21-year-old who you groomed. Like, why is she so much different than because she has brown hair? She hasn't done anything interesting. There's nothing about her that's interesting. But sure, she changed his life. So anyways, what's the surprise? So they're going gliding, I guess. I think that's what it's called. So basically, like, you get on a plane and then you go like, but you don't crash. They're going gliding. Rich people things. It's rich people things. Once again, this just gives nothing. It gives nothing. It's a nothing burger. It's just supposed to be cute. They have these like weird kind of concerning moments, and then they're just like, here's something cute for you. It's not cute. I don't fucking care about these characters, but thanks for nothing. He shows her the sunset. It's fine. It could be romantic. Again, I just hate these characters. It's a big gesture. It's definitely special. I just don't fucking care about these characters. After, though, we're just gonna skip through all of this because none of it matters. After they go to IHOP, of course at the IHOP they're horny. Anna's like thinking about having sex at the IHOP. She's like, that would be crazy. Yeah, it would be. Don't do that. IHOP is a family restaurant. Children go there. Also, like, that cannot be sanitary, girl. Say hello to a yeasty, but oh, sure. So then they're like getting all steamy again in the fucking IHOP, okay? And the waitress walks by and is like immediately like, oh my God, Christian's so attractive. I would like someone to meet this man and just be like, you're fucking ugly, because I'm tired of everyone having the same reaction. Anna gets jealous again. I hate this book. Jealousy is so common in these books. I just think that it's especially concerning that she is jealous over literally every fucking woman. I think it's dumb. I think it's frustrating to have stories that are, you know, very focused on jealousy, because like, what, who cares? Who cares? It's not really, it doesn't scream healthy relationship, but like, whatever. But they're not even doing anything to be jealous of. And to be jealous of his fucking ex-groomer? Like, oh my god, we're just crossing boundaries of jealousy here. So they're IHOP. IHOP's decently affordable, comparatively, I guess. And so Anna's like, can I treat you? Treat me how? Pay for this meal. And he snorts. I don't think so. Please, I want to. He frowns at me. Are you trying to completely emasculate me? Emasculate me. I'm sorry. I fucking can't read. I'm sorry. I already said this. Sir, it's an IHOP meal. And before this, he's like, oh, I just don't want to, like, I want to spend money on you, you know. I don't know how to solve your problem about you feeling cheap because I spend money on you. This is how. She wants to buy you an IHOP meal. Let her spend fucking 25 bucks. I don't know how much IHOP costs these days. Let her spend 25 bucks on you, okay? It's not the end of the world if someone wants to treat you. You know that it can feel good to treat someone else and to spend money on someone else. Why can't you understand that maybe she wants to do the same? Is it really that emasculating if she buys you pancakes? Like, what the fuck? It's a small gesture and it's worth something, and it just, you know how much better it would be if you did this for her and she was like, wow, I did it. I'm so glad. I finally got to pay him back for something, even if it was small. But no, you can't even let her have this one small thing. Well, we're gonna flash forward. I'm trying to speed run this chapter. Nothing really super crazy happens, but so Anna gets hired. She got a phone call and she got accepted for the position at the interview that we saw, because I think she got an interview for the other two, but I don't remember. And she shares it with her mom. She gets the phone while they're hanging out, and it says, her mom, she's like, congratulations, darling, we have to buy some champagne. She's clapping her hands and jumping up and down. Is she 42 or 12? Stop. You have acted like you were 2. How many fucking times in this book, and you're gonna sit there and judge your mom because she's excited for you? I mean, yeah, that's cringy. I guess she got it from somewhere. But like, you're really gonna judge her? Like, you're not worse. They email back and forth and talk about dumb shit. And the work situation comes up. I don't know if this is ever gonna come up again. I've mentioned this a few times, I think, about like the one time that work actually presents a problem. Like, he wouldn't be super busy as a CEO, but whatever. So yeah, the one time that work presents a problem is now. It's happening now. And the chapter ends with that kind of ambiguous, like, uh-oh, he's got something going on. After this whole thing, Anna, of course, is going home, because literally what happened in that entire time that she was in Georgia, what happened? Nothing besides fighting and Christian and more sex and Christian. You know, nothing happens that matters that isn't about Christian. But she's on her way home. She still is in first class. All the seats got upgraded to first class. But she's thinking about Christian because she doesn't do anything else in this book. And she's thinking, and because of his 50 Shades, I'm holding myself back. The BDSM is a distraction from the real issue. The sex is amazing. He's wealthy. He's beautiful. But this is a little meaningless without his love. And the real heart feel is that I don't know if he's capable of love. He doesn't even love himself. I recall his self-loathing, her love being the only form he found acceptable. Punished, whipped, beaten, whatever the relationship entailed, he feels undeserving of love. Why does he feel like that? How can he feel like that? His words haunt me. It's very hard to grow up in a perfect family when you're not perfect. Girl, it's not your problem. Yep. They email a little bit back and forth about the work situation, as they call it. And if it doesn't come back in book 2, I will be mad. And if it comes back in book 2, I will still be mad. So this was dumb. In conclusion. So she's still on the plane a little bit later after emailing him, and it says, I become aware that once again the only empty seat is beside me. I shake my head as the thought crosses my mind that Christian might have purchased the adjacent seat so that I couldn't talk to anyone. I dismiss the idea as ridiculous, and no one could be that controlling, that jealous. Surely he is. I guarantee he did that just because you even mentioned it. Like, he definitely did that because he is that controlling. I did not care to skim it, and I don't care to do it now. So basically what happens from what I could gather is that she leaves Georgia, does all of her like connecting flights and stuff, gets back to Seattle, and then immediately goes to see Christian again. Like, from the airport, she gets picked up by Taylor. Didn't forget about him, did you? Silly. I haven't mentioned him in this part yet, but he's been there this whole time. But Taylor literally like drives her to his place. She shows up and Christian's like feeling stressed about the situation. Now he's just horny because she's there. He's like, shower with me now. Calm down, boy. So then they take a shower together. I think they have sex in the shower. I don't care. And then after, she's like, oh, by the way, I got a job at that publishing companies. He asks which one. She's like, oh, but this one, it's called SIP. I don't know if that's going to come up later, but it's called SIP. And he's like, oh, the small one. Good. Well done. And he kisses her forehead and says, clever girl.
Clever girl.
So Christian's stressed from work, and naturally this means he wants to take it out in the playroom. He's like, meet me in the playroom. So she does this. She's kneeling by the door in the position that I mentioned before, the awkward one where she's just in her undies, and she's thinking, as she does, after all he's done, I have to man up and take whatever he decides he wants, whatever he thinks he needs. No, you don't. No, you don't. Period. No, you don't. No matter what he has done, you do not have to do anything for him. Especially sexually. Like, he did something pretty cool and, you know, it was an awesome treat and stuff, but you do not have to do everything he wants in the playroom just because of that. You just don't. It's not how this works, you know? You should not feel like you have to give up sex or a specific kind of sex because of him. Because he was nice to you. So he comes in and he's in his ripped jeans again, and he's like, we don't have a signed contract, Anastasia, but we've discussed limits and I want to reiterate that we have safe words, okay? And he makes her like say the safe words. She repeats them and he's like, remember those. And she is about to like look at him and be like, I'm actually pretty smart, remember my GPA? And he's just like, don't start with your smart mouth here. Okay. So he's like, I'm gonna tie you to the bed, blindfold you, put headphones in your ears and play music so your senses are like, you know, you do not have your senses. Your senses are limited. I can't think of the word. You know what never let them guess your next move, I guess. And she's like, holy cow, stop saying that. Stop saying that. You may be wondering what music he plays. Toxic by Britney Spears. Just gotcha. Remember that? Sorry. He plays like some classical music. I don't know. If it's over 100 years old and it's in the public domain, I'll like play a clip. But it's just some like choir music or something, so I guess it's not classical, but it's nothing interesting really. So he's just kind of like touching her here, flogging her there. She's enjoying it. Cool. After this whole thing, it's not that interesting. She's literally just can't see, can't really hear anything, and she is enjoying it, and he's just kind of like I said, using the flog or I don't know. It's not really crazy or anything. It's not that insane. I don't know. I don't want to get into the details, but after all of this, he just says hi, and she says hi yourself. So they talk a little bit, and he's like, I've always wanted to fuck to this song. So, and then they're talking, and she's like worried that she said something in her sleep, like something weird in her sleep the other day. And he's like, oh no, you didn't say anything weird. It was like, you know, he says some of the stuff and he thinks it's like cute, but it's like not weird or embarrassing or anything. And she's like, really? And he's like, are you hiding something from me? And he says, do I have to torture it out of you? No need for that, sir. And that's how the chapter ends. Luckily that was not a cliffhanger. It was just supposed to be a joke. So she wakes up in the middle of the night, just like flashback to like chapter 8 or whatever. She finds him playing the piano in the other room. She goes over, they have a little moment. She sits and like kind of puts her head on his shoulder, and he's like playing, and I don't know, it's supposed to be cute. And she woke up at like 7:30, and she needs to take her birth control like every day, I think, at like 8. And so she's like, oh well, I have like 30 minutes, what do you want to do? She starts talking about the contract a little bit, because they kind of were under this agreement that she was going to sign, and Christian's like, actually it's moot. He says it's moot. I'm sorry, it's just a weird word. He's like, the contract doesn't matter anymore. It's fine, like you don't have to sign. I just want you to respect what the contract says, and to especially follow that in the playroom. So he's kind of loosening up a little bit. I don't really care. I don't think that's better. Contract is fine. The contract keeps them safe. The issue is not necessarily the contract. The issue is what's on the contract. So maybe it's a little better she doesn't have to sign, but I don't think it's much better. I still think that he's an abusive piece of shit. Not to mention the fact this entire book was like about she needs to sign the contract. This, like, the whole thing felt like it was leading to her signing the contract, and then to just end it at she's not gonna do it. I was like sitting there like, why have I been reading this fucking book? She rolls her eyes, and he's like, oh, I have to punish you again.
Yeah, why'd I have to punish you?
And she's like, I don't want to get punished. And she gets up and she starts like running around, and they're doing that whole thing that's like, well, catch me if you can. If you can catch me, then I'll let you punish me, kind of a thing. And then at one point they're like at a standstill. I'm just imagining like me and my siblings, unfortunately, when we were like kids, like very young, and playing and like running around the kitchen, and there's like the kitchen counter in the middle, and we're like on either side, and it's like, which way am I gonna go? That's what I'm imagining. And she's like, I feel about punishment the way that you feel about being touched. I don't care what he actually says. He's just like, really, or something, and his whole like body language and everything just changes and becomes very serious. Anna's like, maybe it's worse for him than I even realized. You hate it that much? No, I feel ambivalent about it. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. But last night in the playroom, I do it for you, Christian, because you need it. I don't. You didn't hurt me last night. That was in a different context, and I can rationalize that internally, and I trust you. But when you want to punish me, I worry that you'll hurt me. You don't trust him, babe. I want to hurt you, but not beyond anything you can take. Why? I just need it. I can't tell you. Can't or won't? Won't. So you know why? Yes. But you won't tell me? If I do, you'll run screaming from this room, and you'll never want to return. Can't risk that, Anastasia. You want me to stay? More than you know, but I couldn't bear to lose you. She's like, I don't want to go. Show me. Show you. Show me how much it can hurt. What? Punish me. I want to know how bad it can get. You would try? Yes, I said I would. And she's thinking, but I have an ulterior motive. If I do this for him, maybe he will let me touch him. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. This is how you get yourself into danger, because you don't understand the relationship, and you don't have enough experience, and he's been leading you along this whole time, and this is what happens. Is that you get a woman who just is thinking about her own personal gain in this relationship, does not understand his boundaries, does not care to respect his boundaries because he does not respect her boundaries, and because she's dumb anyways. And now we have her being like, punish me, hurt me as much as you can, and if I can, maybe he'll do this for me. He never said that. He never said that. And you're just hoping. You're putting yourself in danger according to your logic, because you don't feel safe and you feel like you could potentially be hurt here. And you're doing that for something that he didn't even say he would do for you. That's frustrating. This book is just frustrating. I can't feel bad for Anna because she is asking for it, but I do feel bad for her because she was groomed into doing like this whole relationship, and now she's just acting dumb, and I hate this book. If that wasn't obvious. So he gets out the belt. I'm not sure what to say about like using a belt specifically. I don't know if this is necessarily the worst that it can get. I think that it feels the most abusive because the belt is like so commonly like associated with child abuse. So I think that's probably what maybe the author was thinking, but I'm not sure if this is necessarily the most painful thing. I don't know. When I told my friend about this, he was like, that's it. So I'm not sure, but either way, kind of crazy that he just agreed so fast to this. He wasn't like, why are you doing this? Like, this is pretty uncharacteristic. If you don't like this, then why would you want to do the worst version of it? Why would you want to experience the most pain possible? Like, I don't, I'm not comfortable hurting you when you just said that you hate being hurt, just like I hate being touched. He didn't even, nothing. He's just like, okay. I mean, he's like, you're so confusing. And he's like, fine, let me take it out. Let me get out the belt. Girl, what? So this whole thing happens and she doesn't like it. She hates it. And after she's like, I am super uncomfortable. Do not touch me. Leave me alone. And she's like crying and feels more abused than she ever did before. She leaves. She's like, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. She leaves. And they do talk about it a bit later after she's kind of calmed down. So I'll read that for you. I don't think I can be everything you want me to be. You are everything I want you to be. What? She's thinking, I don't understand. I'm not obedient, and you can be as sure as hell I'm not gonna let you do that to me again. And that's what you need. You said so. He closes his eyes, and he's like, his expression looks bleak, and she thinks, oh no, you're right. I should let you go. I'm no good for you. I don't want to go. I don't want you to go either. I've come alive since I've met you. Me too. I've fallen in love with you, Christian. And he's like, no, you can't love me, Anna. No, that's wrong. Wrong? Why is it wrong? Well, look at you. I can't make you happy. But you do make me happy. Not at the moment. Not doing what I do.
I hurt you.
We'll never get past that, will we? Well, I'd better go then. No, don't go. And she leaves. She bought him like a model of the glider that they were in. So she like puts a note and she's like, this reminded me of a happy time, thank you, Anna. Then is like ready to leave. He comes over, he's like refuses to take back the money for the car, and I don't know, all this stuff is just them breaking up and it's messy, and the whole thing ends and she is broken up with him and she leaves. What a nothing burger. Yum. Delicious. Abuse, my favorite. 50 Shades of Grey, more like 50 Shades of Abuse. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how this ends. I just want to say that I don't like that she leaves, actually. And you might be like, isn't that what you've been wanting her to do this whole entire fucking time? Yes. But the reason she leaves is not because this isn't gonna work and I need to leave and, and actually move on and whatever. She leaves for the drama. There's 2 more fucking books. Okay, they're gonna get back together. That's the fucking problem. I don't think this could be saved, but whatever. We can pretend. If this happened and it was genuine and we were like, Christian literally is just an abusive piece of shit and he needs to change, and she left because she realized that, or even because they weren't compatible like literally 16 chapters ago, I would have been happy. But instead, we just get this dramatic thing that's like, we're just not compatible. I'm so sad. And I know that they're gonna get back together, so I'm not fucking happy. I'm mad that I had to sit through this shit. I just sit through this and eat my nothing burger. And I'm still hungry. I'm not even hungry. I'm nauseous. I'm nauseous from eating something that tasted like fucking garbage. So we go through an entire book watching a 21-year-old woman being groomed by a 27-year-old man, and he is just dragging her along, gets her involved in all this BDSM stuff, gets involved with her knowing that she's inexperienced, and then still continues to stay involved with her after finding out she's a virgin. He does all this stuff. He grooms her. He, like I really emphasized in part one of this series, I guess, of videos, and we just see this transition from her being groomed to her being abused. And this is what happens when you're groomed. If you actually enter a relationship with your groomer and it's not stopped, which I hope it's stopped before this kind of thing could happen, but it's not in this case. So it's like you actually enter a relationship with someone who's groomed and manipulated you into having this kind of relationship. It's not going to be healthy. She's jealous all the time. She's jealous over people she shouldn't be jealous over specifically. He is abusive. He's controlling. Those actions are constantly excused because we're just saying that it's part of who he is. It's part of his trauma. It's part of blah, 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 blah. Like, this is so frustrating. It's so exhausting. It is disgusting. This is the kind of shit that you get when you groom someone. You get an abusive relationship, and you see that with how he treats her, how he gets mad at her, how she has to beg him to not be mad at her, how she figures out that she can kind of use her body to get what she wants, to kind of leverage this thing and be like, oh well, if I give him this, he'll give me this. That's not healthy. That's not a good relationship. She does not feel comfortable communicating with him. She does not trust him to not hurt her during playtime. There is so much wrong with this. I literally struggle. I struggle to find one thing about this book that was well done. It was not funny. It was not cute. I could not overlook the abuse and be like, oh, it's kind of funny, ha ha ha. At times, I literally could not do that. Nothing about this book was good. I didn't like Kate's character, but when she did that to Anna and was like, I'm gonna make him jealous, and then he almost hurt her because of that, completely ruined my entire impression of her. Like, nothing about this book gave. It was weird towards Mexicans too, with the whole thing in the first book and Jose being a Mexican stereotype. Literally nothing about this book was good. I cannot think of a single thing. It was not written well. It was quite repetitive. There was nothing that happened. We lost the plot 4 chapters into this book. Nothing fucking happened. You read this entire thing thinking that something's gonna happen and nothing happens. Anna's not an interesting character. Christian's just dark and mysterious and boring and basic and dumb, and he's been through this trauma, but he's abusive, and we just pretend that that's okay. Nothing about this book was good, which is why I'm giving it 1 star, and I would give it 0 if I could. This book did not deliver. It was not enjoyable. It was painful to read. It was so painful to read, and I know it can get worse than this. That's the scary part. I do not understand how this book blew up so much. The only thing I can say that was good is I kind of mentioned this, I think, in the first part, that it sort of talked about BDSM in a way that it wasn't being talked about at the time, and it sort of brought it into the mainstream. That's the only thing that I can stretch and say was good about this. I kind of was looking into some articles, and someone said that it shows that dominance can be kind of like a soft top or stuff, or like a soft dom, and I don't see it because I can't overlook his abuse. That's the thing, is like anything about Christian's character that could be considered good, I can't overlook because he's abusive, and I can't help but think of him love bombing her, or, you know, saying, oh look, he's doing this good thing for her, he's so sweet and caring at times, because all I'm thinking is that he's doing that because he wants something from her. He's doing that because he knows and he understands that they have to maintain a certain type of balance so that he can continue to use her. That's all I'm thinking this entire fucking time. There's nothing about this book that I think is good. There's nothing about this book that I think is worthwhile reading. If you haven't read this book, do not waste your time. Frankly, I'm gonna fucking waste my time and read the other 2 books because I started this series and I feel like I have to finish it. But I hate this book, okay? I hated it. One star. Boo. Anyways though, I'm gonna do a little outro here. So thank you so much for watching this video though. I know this is going to be another long video, and I just hope it was fun. I hope it was entertaining. I hope you watched both reviews. It's okay if you didn't. I'm gonna keep making videos for now. Like I said, I'm gonna read those other 2 books, and I'll probably make another book review on those. But I did have fun ranting, even though I was dying the whole time. I do hope it was fun for you. Again, thank you so much for watching. I know that I'm just a random stranger on the internet and just one of many people ranting about bad books at in this day and age, but if you liked it, I really do hope you stick around. And I said this in the beginning, but I really appreciate a like and subscribe. It's free, it's easy, it would make me feel better, and I could hopefully have a small audience. This is my present to you for the holidays. I hope that you enjoy this rant and never read 50 Shades of Grey. Bye. Thank you so much.